Best Ball Mania 6. I'm Pete Overzet. This is Best Ball Breakfast. Today we have Pat Kerrane, Mike Leone, Davis Mattek, all swinging by for drafts. Best Ball Summer starts now.
It really isn't that hard, guys. You just go top two, win it, win it.
Okay, I think we can be done here at running back.
You only have 3 running backs. This roster is littered with game theory, arbitrage, exploits, and theoretic reasoning.
Bro, light mode, my eyes, dude.
I don't know. I prefer that move more in a time box contest.
Bro, have you ever scrolled so far down that, there's no more names, bro?
Don't do drugs, kids. Draft and drive instead.
You can't have it both ways, dude. Quid pro quo.
All right, GMs all around. You know it's Best Ball Summer when we had over 100 people waiting for this stream to start here. I am as excited as you guys. I even had to bust out the tank top for today. I have not worn a tank top yet this calendar year other than working out. And I said, you know what? We need to will Best Ball Summer into existence by wearing a tank top. I'm going to try to get to everybody in the chat, but it is popping. We got the GMs flowing. I see the badges all going on here. And yes, the elephant in the room, the big question, right? When is Best Ball Mania going to drop? It is not live as of this moment. I was really hoping to be able to start this stream with a draft. I don't think that is going to happen. But I am extremely hopeful that it will be dropping soon. And so to me, the question is, are we going to be able to get in a draft before our first guest joins us, which will be Kerrane at 11 a.m. Eastern? Or are you stuck listening to me vamp for an hour until it drafts or until it drops? So that is the deal for today. When I know it's live, I will hop in a draft. I will let you guys know. If you guys see it in the lobby before I do, feel free to let me know. We are all in this together, but the show must go on. I mean, if Best Ball Breakfast starts at 10 a.m. every single Monday, it's starting at 10 a.m. on BBM opening day. And there's a lot we can go through. We can pull up some of the ranks which are available in the lobby, kind of the pre-launch ADP that we'll be working with today, essentially what everyone is wanting to exploit here as the contest opens before that ADP adjusts, so we can go through some of those risers, fallers, and kind of start to build out a plan of attack for BBM today. We got some GMs going in the chat. How are we doing? Yes, it is wild that it is here. You know, in the back of my head, you know, all January, February, March, it's like the NFL draft. That's when we're off to the races. Once it's in the books, I hope everyone enjoyed all of the draft coverage there over the weekend. We had a very fun show on ship chasing on Thursday night, breaking down all of those round 1 picks. And then there was obviously lots more fanfare over the weekend with the day 2 and day 3 picks as well. Man, this is how you know you're sick. 3573 gang, rise up. Manly Moose 1 is already in the chat trying to find like-minded structural individuals. What a world we live in. If there were best ball dating profiles, would you put your preferred structure in there? 0RB bro, 2772, looking for someone who's willing to punt running backs until the 12th round? Goodness gracious. I think the one thing we need to do to get us rolling here is definitely a cup of coffee. That is a staple around here on Best Ball Breakfast. So let's get the coffee flowing. And I'm going to try. I mean, these chats are coming in fast and furious. I'm doing my best here. We got Skeletor saying, can we get a Best Ball Grandpa going over some of the rookie landing spots? Much love. Yes, we can check out some of the rookie landing spots. Best Ball Grandpa, Austin Eckler, man, talk about a guy there. You know, some of these veterans, you know, came out of the draft pretty unscathed. I mean, DeAndre Swift, by our definition, by how much we love rookies and sophomores, he might as well be a Best Ball Grandpa. Definitely some of those guys we were all expecting to receive some incoming competition in the draft. They emerge unscathed, which will be another interesting element today, right? We're all interested in the rookie risers. Where's RJ Harvey going to go? Where's Jaden Higgins going to go? But I'm also interested to see, do we see the incumbents that didn't get competition like DeAndre Swift like a Brian Robinson, like an Isaiah Pacheco, are those guys going to move up? But let me go ahead and get a coffee pour going in here so I don't blue ball you guys on the coffee too much. Wow, this is sick. I've refreshed UD 700 times today. You could probably stop doing that. I will let you know. I will let you know, and I think a lot of people will let you know as well. I'm trying to think, what was the last time I used to? There's this extension on Chrome where you can have the page auto refresh for you, so you don't have to do it. So that's a little pro tip for you there. I don't know the name of the extension. If I can find it for you, maybe I can get that up. All right, let's see here. Now I was trying to click some things on my extension. I accidentally clicked another extension, and now I don't have control of my keyboard right now. So that's a great thing going for me. Let's see. How do I get this off? What in the world extension did I just click here? I am tilting right now. I am tilting hard. All right, there, it's gone. It's gone. Goodness gracious. All right, now everything on my computer is glitching out because I clicked one of my mini extensions here. Mark, let me know in the chat, producer Mark. Am I still good here? Nothing like trying to click a random extension at the start of the stream to prove a point, only to send your entire computer in disarray. All right. Are we back? All right. I think we're back. Sorry about that. All right. There we go. Dietrich says we just got a Trump ad from YouTube. It's Scatabo time. Yes, I'm excited to see where Scatabo goes as well. That'll be an interesting one for sure. Let me see if I can get, man, I really did a number on my computer trying to click an extension. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. All right. I am going to restart my browser real quickly because this is driving me nuts right now. 1 second, guys. All right. I think I'm good. JGFC, bless you for vamping. It's giving me time to drive to New Jersey. Yeah. Shout out to all of our New Yorkers who are not able to draft legally in their state today, who are making the commute, and lots of other states as well, having to drive across the border. So we salute you for your service here. Yeah, lots of updated ranks out today. Leg up ranks are live. ETR ranks are live. When Kerrane comes on, we'll obviously be drafting off of the leg up ranks. When Leone comes on, we'll be drafting off of the ETR ranks. It'll be interesting to kind of see the disparities there. And that's what's going to be fun about this show this summer. And as you guys have probably seen, the structure for Best Ball Breakfast for this summer, every Monday, 10 a.m., I'll do a solo draft at 10 a.m. Eastern. Kerrane will always join at 11 a.m. Leone will always join at noon. If you guys missed it previously, Sean Siegel is not returning for Best Ball Banana Stand this year. Very bummed about that. We talked about it on After Dark if you guys missed that. But filling his shoes is none other than Alpha Play Mike Leone himself. I think it'll be a great fit for the show and really excited to have him around the Best Ball Breakfast parts for this summer. And then 1 p.m. will always be a rotating guest. And of course, none other than our pal Davis Mattek joining us as our first guest today at 1 p.m. Eastern. Schmo says, I feel like the running back landscape is even more muddy after the draft. Some teams have 3 guys to pick from, such as Dallas and the Jags. Yeah, I mean, the Dallas situation is extremely gross. Everyone was hoping that they'd at least take a guy on day 2, maybe, give us something to get excited about. They spend their first running back pick on Jaden Blue, who's kind of interesting, but doesn't really profile as a guy who can fully take over a backfield, doesn't have that interesting of a college profile there. So we might have to learn some Javonte Williams this summer. I can't believe they ran it back. They just said last year we did the Rico Dowdle, Zeke Elliott thing, and this year we'll do the Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders thing or whatever. So yeah, God bless the Cowboys. Those are the true zero RB bros. Jerry Jones becoming a full-blown zero RB bro. I did not expect that to happen this year. Dobbins to Dallas. Yeah, I guess Dobbins is maybe one of the few kind of remaining running back dominoes. Obviously, we're waiting on Keenan Allen as far as the wide receivers, but a lot of these backfields feel pretty solidified at this point. I guess somebody like Nick Chubb signing somewhere could get people excited for a hot second, but man, we are running out of meaningful dominoes to fall at this point. So a lot of these backfields are starting to feel relatively settled here. I'm getting super chats here. A Prussian David Montgomery. You guys are trying to get me canceled right as Best Ball Summer launches here as well. Fantasy Football Garage becoming a YouTube member. We got the what here saying he's calling it now. BBM Winner 6 is currently in the chat. You know what? I like that call. I think it was our guy, Patrick Donovan, said that 2 teams last year that made the finals were drafted on opening day. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I recall I saw that tweet. So yeah, there is definitely a chance to build a super team here on day 1. Although I will say, like, where we're at as a best ball community, almost 600 people watching live before the contest even opens, based on some early indications of where guys like RJ Harvey are going on other sites. I will just say, like, brace yourselves for there not being a ton of immediate value. I just don't know if we live in a landscape anymore where you can sneak something past everyone. I think we might be talking about, a round and a half. Maybe you can get 2 rounds of value on some of these guys, but we are going to all be elbowing each other to select RJ Harvey in these drafts. I think it's safe to say he is by far the biggest riser, biggest winner, had an ADP, hovering in the 150 to 160s for most of the pre-draft contest. And I have already taken a peek at, the leg up ranks, the ETR ranks. Going to be going at some point this summer up 100 picks higher than where he closed at. The question is what kind of deals can you get on him today? What kind of deals can you get on him before the ADP fully adjusts? I'm not sure. Based on where I'm seeing and hearing people willing to take him, it might not be as massive of a CLV as we would hope for. Yeah, is Rodgers upset that he isn't the topic of conversation anymore? Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to find a way to insert himself into the conversation. That is what he is best at here. Let's see here. Catching up on the chat. Let's see here. Blizzy says, Brees, the coaching staff hates, front office keeps investing in running back room last year of contract getting moved to the NFC and the Chicago Bears. Ton of sense for both teams. Okay, you're projecting a trade there. That could be an interesting domino. That's not a bad call of something that could shake up the landscape. Yeah, I think it was on draft night on Thursday, Brees Hall tweeted out a little fingers crossed emoji. So maybe the team told him that they are working on shopping him around. So yeah, that's a good call. If you're worried about me hyping up Harvey, buddy, you have not been paying attention. RJ Harvey being the big draft winner is the worst kept secret. You got to worry about me hyping up other players. I think you should be worrying about, like, can you sneak Jaden Higgins in a round and a half, ahead of his ADP, something like that. But I'm sorry, brother. The RJ Harvey cat is out of the bag. And not only is out of the bag, it is running loose and it is screaming and yelping and letting everyone in its vicinity know that it exists. Let's see here. This is a good counterpoint, but I still think where we're at now, it's not going to be as big of an issue, right? So Dynasty Barry says the community has a massive inability to separate itself from anchoring to the ADP. So here's the thing. That is often true for fallers, right? The element of stickiness to ADP with fallers is so much more of a dynamic in these drafts. You'll also have auto drafters often catching the falling knife. And so the slowness of that ADP to adjust to what it should be is pretty pronounced. However, when you talk about a riser, all it takes is one person in a draft to reach well ahead, to have them star, to want to aggressively go and get them. And I'm telling you, you will be in a lobby this morning with at least one person, if not 6, if not 7, 8, or 9 people who are aggressively trying to chase CLV and chase some of these mispriced players at the top. So while I agree with you that the community will still probably be anchored to ADP for fallers, I don't think that you are going to get people asleep at the wheel on risers. People are going to go through their queue. They're going to star them. I did a show on Saturday night with Sacrilegious. That's for YouTube members. And we pulled up the CSV of the rankings for pre-draft. And we went through and we highlighted all of the the risers and fallers from the big board closing ADP. So you will be in a draft with people this morning who will know what they're doing and they will know the targets they want to get. And I think what today represents, what tomorrow represents before that ADP first refreshes, is essentially a game of chicken, right? We are all trying to get these guys that we know will be priced higher in a week, much less, a month or two. But we don't want to wring out all the value. If you take RJ Harvey at pick 50, well, guess what? You're going to be able to get him cheaper than that for most of the summer, right? So you have to say, is the guy I'm getting actually going to represent a value or represent a price that is not going to be available to me for the rest of the summer? And that's kind of the game of chicken we're all going to be playing today. And it'll be fun because there still are other components to a draft, right? People are going to be getting their stacks. They are going to try to scoop fallers. It's not going to be everyone starring every single rookie that hit a good landing spot and just jamming them in. So I think it'll be an interesting dynamic. I'm excited to see the screenshots. I'm excited to see the prices. I'm sure there will be a decent amount of variability from draft to draft because we are going to enter the wild west of price discovery with these players. Let's see here.
Dude, RJ Harvey's my sleeper this year.
Yes. And, one of the things I talked with Sacrilegious is, and I'm not saying RJ Harvey specifically, but there will be a few of these players, and I'll give you an example of one last year, Ben Sinnott, a guy who jumps up immediately. There's this enthusiasm. They draft Jaden Daniels, myself included. I was very excited about Ben Sinnott. He rockets up, and then over the course of the summer, he gets much cheaper. Everybody kind of simmers out. So I would also look for some of those spots today where if it seems too frothy, if a player is getting, drafted close to his rank or to where it's getting overvalued, I promise you there will be chance for FUD to be introduced at some point and lower the price. If you miss out on RJ Harvey now, I promise you there will be a chance, or there will be a time this summer when Sean Payton is talking up Audric Estime, when he's talking up Jaleel McLaughlin, when he's talking about, changing the running back on every single play, and there will be FUD. And people will get scared and they will be worried that they're not drafting bell cow RJ Harvey, and the price will come down. It invariably happens with a lot of these situations. So, while it is very fun to attack these mispriced players, it will not be your only opportunity to draft these guys. Let's see here, though. Let's pull up the board here too, and we can kind of look at some of these other spots that could be interesting here. Some other players that might be mispriced. I'm curious kind of what are some of the spots you guys are looking to capitalize on? Because, one thing when I was going through the exercise with Sacrilegious on Saturday, I really didn't think the landscape changed seismically. Like what's my phrase? The board got flipped on its head. I don't really feel like the fantasy football landscape really got flipped on its head as much as I was envisioning. Like where all of these running backs I thought could have landed with all of the teams in need of running backs, the fact that we didn't get the Cowboys, that we didn't get the Commanders, we didn't get the Bears, we got a couple chalk spots. Jeanty, to the Raiders was pretty expected. It doesn't leave a ton of the landscape to be shifted. A lot of stuff feels like minimal movements, maybe around round and a half in some cases, other than some of those rookies we've talked about. RJ Harvey, Jaden Higgins, obviously Travis Hunter is going to be one that will be really interesting to watch. But I'm almost more curious about some of the fallers. You look at in the wide receiver range, guys like Christian Kirk and Jalen McMillan here, two guys that are now certainly going to drop. You could say that they had pretty rough drafts. The Texans drafting 2 wide receivers there after bringing in Christian Kirk, and then Jalen McMillan almost getting sent to the shadow realm with the addition of Emeka Egbuka there as well. So where do we think these guys are going to fall? ADP of 97 for Kirk, ADP of 105 for McMillan. In that game of chicken I was kind of talking about, that's going to be in play for these wide receivers as well as far as fallers, where someone will be tempted by a perceived ADP value as far as, hey, Christian Kirk falls, to pick 120. Is that enough? Or do these guys need to keep falling? In that retrospect, or in that, in that framework, I kind of want to probably try to sit these guys out as much as possible and see where their price ultimately settles, and then figure out, are they a target at that new price? Christian Kirk, probably a little more intriguing as a faller than McMillan. McMillan probably has to fall a really good bit here, from 105 down into, the range where ADP almost doesn't matter, in the 150s, 160s, when you're going from essentially a $4 or $5 auction value to $1 auction value. Jalen McMillan is now a $1 pick in auction drafts. And it pains me to say that, specifically because the ship chasing curse remains alive and well. Pat Bryant, that's the other thing, right? There's going to be some enthusiasm for these players who weren't getting drafted during the big board, right? I think there's probably a psychological element there of like, hey, no one was drafting Pat Bryant. The question is, Pat Bryant, who obviously is going to open with an ADP, is Pat Bryant ever going to get more expensive throughout the summer than a 16th, 17th, 18th round pick? Probably not. He's probably not someone you need to aggressively chase, regardless. Last year, Troy Franklin, was hovering around pick 16, 17, 18 for the duration of the summer. So you can get your shares of these guys if you're excited to get your first click of Pat Bryant, but I don't think you have to worry about a runaway ADP train for Pat Bryant. The pound is getting in the good graces with the wife by doing some early yard work, but she doesn't yet realize I'm ripping BBMs all night. Yeah, I mean, that was the play, to get in all the chores, all the family time yesterday and this morning. I went and did my exercise this morning because I knew once the stream started, once the drafts opened up, it was going to be hard to focus on anything else here. The Devon Vele hive, yes, they are alive and well. Man, the Denver skill position, it is pretty crazy. I mean, going into the draft, the first running back off the board for the Broncos, or in the pre-draft contest, was Audric Estime with an ADP of about 232. It looks like in BBM here, none of the running backs are even opening up with an ADP. Jaleel McLaughlin, no ADP. Estime, no ADP. And one other interesting thing, so the rookies still are not assigned to their team in these pre-NFL draft ranks. That's kind of interesting to me because you can't search Broncos right now and see RJ Harvey. You just search Harvey and it's still showing him essentially as a free agent with an ADP of 155. That's kind of interesting. It'd be nice if these guys were assigned to their teams just for when you're looking at stacks. You know, you look up your Viking stack and you're like, hey, where's my Ty Felton there? But we're gonna have to know ball. We're gonna have to know these landing spots for stacking purposes there. How many Cam Ward, Tyler Lockett stacks will you have? Probably not too many. Again, I think Tyler Lockett's price should be pretty fixed in the final rounds for most of the year. And that really is that is the prism with which I do think we should be asking ourselves, what are we trying to accomplish with drafts today? When we know there is so much that is going to happen over the next 4 months, and we're trying to say, what are the teams I can draft that I'm going to draft today that I won't be able to draft in August? And those August drafters, they're going to have a lot on us. They are going to have a ton of information. They're going to have preseason. They're going to have depth charts. They're going to have injury news. They're going to have all kinds of stuff on us. How do we build teams now that can compete with the huge information advantage that the August drafters are going to have? It is really kind of attacking the prices and the players we do think will both significantly rise in the coming days, but I also think kind of sneakily rise, be a steady drip up throughout the offseason there as well. So that's kind of the lens I'm thinking. Who are the players? Who are the guys I can get that might just slowly get more expensive throughout the summer? And then thinking I won't be able to get the combos of these players in August. Rusty wants to know, what will be the combinatorial ownership of Jeanty Harvey teams? You know, I don't know if those two are directly correlated. I think it would be more interesting to say like Travis Hunter Harvey teams or, you know, Jaden Higgins Harvey teams, basically the known risers. You're going to be in the draft with probably 7 people who have starred RJ Harvey and Jaden Higgins. How many times do you see that pairing of like, all right, I locked up my big CLV pairing, I'm good to go? That one I would be interested in seeing. Do we think more contests are coming today or just the big one? I believe more contests are coming today. I think there was there a graphic on Underdog Drafts with some of those? I don't know if they've done the graphic yet for it. Oh, they just did the history of the logos as well. So yeah, I have not seen or heard specifically, but I believe there's going to be more than just BBM in the lobby today. Yeah, Wood says Eliminator and weekly rankings are now live in there. I did not see Eliminator. Now I have to refresh. When I pulled this up, there was weekly winner. So yeah, it sounds like we'll probably, oh, yep, you're right. There's Eliminator now in the lobby as well. So as we are speaking in real time right now, stuff is getting added to the site in preparation for contest launching. Yeah, Imwald says here, where does DeAndre Swift end up after the Bears neglected running back for the whole draft? He's definitely going to move up, right? DeAndre Swift, his ADP throughout the big board and where he's opening here, about 122. I think you see him move up into the range where Najee was essentially going before the draft. So Najee Harris ADP is 67. I don't know if that happens today, but I do think we'll see DeAndre Swift slowly move up. As much as the market doesn't like DeAndre Swift, he's been a player that ever since the Lions let him go, and he didn't score a lot of points with the Eagles, everyone's been down on him. However, the collective enthusiasm for this Ben Johnson-led Lions offense, adding all of these weapons, and then to not add anything at running back, I think you're going to see people get pretty excited about DeAndre Swift in this offense. So yeah, I think we're going to see, you know, a 40, 50 pick rise for DeAndre Swift from this, you know, ADP of 122. The question is, how quickly does it happen? And I do think, you know, as I've been thinking this through in strategy for today, some of these veteran risers are going to be the more sneaky targets to go after today, while everyone chases the rookie risers, right? It's way funner to go star RJ Harvey and Jaden Higgins than it is DeAndre Swift and Brian Robinson. But those would be the guys that I think you might actually be able to pick off at really nice prices, because even though everyone knows their situation improved, I don't know if it is going to course correct as quickly as the rookies. This is fine here. 664 people watching and only 100 likes. I'm disappointed in all of you. Yes, I appreciate now the near 700 people watching live. If you guys are new here, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. We're going to be live every Monday for 4 hours. Normally on Mondays, I'll be doing a solo draft at this time. Obviously, Best Ball Mania has not dropped. I'm very hopeful that it will drop by the time Kerrane comes. But otherwise, you guys are stuck with me still vamping here. And if you guys have other situations you want to discuss, feel free to toss them in the chat and we will bide our time until this contest drops. Let's see. Any thoughts on Isaac Tesla? Josh and Hayden were actually in on him a month before the draft, but the Lions taking him on day 2 felt insane. Yeah, Tesla, him going ahead of some guys like Ion Manor and stuff was a bit of a surprise. I think you got to be careful with him in that the path to playing time is obviously very thin. The Lions have a ton of weapons. You're probably looking at a purely contingent play. How, he gets on the field early as an impact and makes an impact seems pretty thin to me. But anytime that you can, make a bet on a mystery box rookie in a really good offense, I don't hate it, but I think Tesla falls into that bucket of watch list players where they're kind of undraftable right now. But as the summer progresses, if we hear good news at training camp from OTAs, if you start to hear the drumbeat, so to speak, then you can start sprinkling them in on, Jared Goff stacks in the 18th round. But I think he's definitely on the watch list. Guys like Ty Felton, like Pat Bryant, that kind of fall into intriguing landing spots, have maybe slightly better draft capital than we expected. I'm definitely paying close attention to those guys. But man, the NFL draft is wild. Definitely learned some names. Shimmery Dyke. I don't even know if that's how you say their name. The Titans wide receiver that they took. I consumed a lot of pre-NFL draft content. I consumed some content from the Dynasty Bros. Did not hear anyone talking about Shimmery Dyke. And I'm just going to say Shimmery because that's how it works. But for the audio listeners, it's Chimere. You got to love the NFL draft. You learn some names. All right. Catching up on the chat here. Yeah, this is an interesting data point. Crutches says different site, but Swift didn't move at all over there yesterday. That's a good canary in the coal mine too, and kind of backs up what I intuitively would have guessed, that the rookies are going to rise very quickly, and the veteran risers who should rise, it's going to be more of a slow burn. So already as we talk through this, that's what I want, my focus to be today. And let's scroll through some of these names for sneaky winners from the veteran position. Obviously, a guy like Josh Jacobs, holding serve there. The Packers don't add anything meaningful. Chase Brown, a big winner there for the Bengals. And I realize you can't see these guys as I add them to my queue. Let me put a couple at the top here so you can actually see the guys I'm adding. Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown. Things certainly break well for Joe Mixon. Similar bucket, like a lot of these veterans, and again, with all respect to Woody Marks, they emerged without a ton of significant competition. That really shows that these teams are willing to run it back with these veterans as, near bell cows. Let's see here. Obviously, Najee is a huge faller. Now featuring a ton of competition. I think it's almost like Najee and DeAndre Swift need to flip places. Najee is now kind of an RB2 contingent upside, some standalone value. So certainly should be drafted ahead of that handcuff tier, but he should be flipping spots there. Tyrone Tracy, another faller, as far as Cam Scatterbo is now going to be a thorn in his side. The Minnesota guys, things broke well for, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, things are looking good for them. And then you're into this range of guys we were talking about, the Chiefs. They do add Brashard Smith, but that's probably a late developing thing. I think Pacheco's stock certainly is slightly improved. Brian Robinson DeAndre Swift. This range specifically here looks pretty good. And I think you could start to talk about some of the handcuffs that we were maybe a little uncertain about. Like, hey, do the Cardinals think Trey Benson sucks? Do the Rams think Blake Corum sucks? Pretty clean draft for a guy like Trey Benson. So these would be some of the names specifically in this like Jones, Pacheco, Brian Robinson, DeAndre Swift range. I think all of these guys will be getting a little bit more expensive. And today might be a really nice day to get some steals on that. When there is, rookie mania going on, these guys might fall under the radar a little bit here. Do we have December weather analysis and week 17 schedule projections yet? I believe we actually got a concrete date on when the NFL schedule is going to be released. I want to say someone said it was like May 14th. Normally they are playing a little fast and loose with the NFL schedule as far as when it's going to be. It's always kind of a moving target, but I believe I saw that somewhere that we are going to get that on the 14th. But as far as the weather, I have not heard. Can the chat let me know? Is it an El Nino year? We need to know. We need to know. Office Bettina would like to discuss the impact of tariffs on best ball prices. What I'm hearing are there's no tariffs on rookies. The rookies are going to be flying up the board unencumbered by global trade dynamics. So I think the only tariffs are on the fallers. Ooh, Skeletor thinks Isaac Tesla is going to be the ship chasing clip this year. I thought it was going to be Harold Fannin there for a second. Harold Fannin was interesting because he gets the draft capital that Fannin Bulls were hoping for, but a pretty rough landing spot there. I don't know. Some other guesses for people with the ship chasing spot was Torrey Horton. He was a guy that checks kind of a lot of the under the radar production boxes. Seattle, okay, not great spot. We'll have to see. I don't know. We've already mushed so many players from the Pac Nor. I don't know if we want to do it to Torrey Horton there after we mushed a string of UW wide receivers. See, this is why you're going to be able to get Swift at a nice value today, because you have people like Lute saying, I'm still going to fade Swift. I lost faith years ago. Let's use this comment, though, as an instructive point, though. Even if you want to fade Swift, I would be getting my shares today, because if you don't like Swift at pick 115 or 120 where you can get him today, you are going to hate him at pick 70 later. So even as a Swift hater, and it sounds like there's a lot of them, get your shares today. Grab Swift at 120 so you can say, hey, my 3% exposure blanket to DeAndre Swift, a player I don't even like, is at the best prices. It has better players around him than the teams in August who will have DeAndre Swift. So again, I'm thinking through those things, even players I don't like. I do not like Isaiah Pacheco. I did not select him. I don't think a single time in the pre-draft stuff. I thought he was wildly overvalued. I'm going to try to get a little Pacheco in these opening drafts because I know he's going to invariably move up. These guys who project as lead backs in good offenses, they invariably tick up. So yeah, I'm going to try to get the best prices even on the guys I don't like today. All right, let's see here. Oh yeah, I'm so behind on the chat that we are we're getting pronunciation. Here's the thing. I already wrote a Swolecast overview joke about that wide receiver, and I'm going to have to pronounce it how I want to pronounce it here. B-Smurf, am I going to hedge any of my big board exposure? No, I'm not. I didn't draft enough teams to be worried about the exposure. I ended up getting 30 in the flagship big board contest. And then I maxed out the small ones, the War Room, the 4-entry 25 max, big board, 5-entry 100 max, and the biggest board there, the 4-entry 250 max. But yeah, we can check out what my biggest exposures ended up being and what aged gracefully and what didn't. Quarterback, Brock Purdy, Geno Smith, Matthew Stafford, Dart, Stroud, May, Ward, Kyler. Feel good about the quarterbacks there. Nothing too crazy. Running backs, Shipley, TreVeyon Henderson, Giddens, Brashard Smith, Hampton, Jordan James, Devin Neal, Algier. No huge wins there. You know, my Harvey exposure was decent, but nothing great. 11.6% there. The DJ Giddens is a little bit of a bummer. You know, he slides into just true handcuff territory behind Jonathan Taylor, but I do think he'll be able to win that RB2 job there and still be kind of a solid 18th round, 17th round selection. Brashard Smith is fun. Like, it's nice that my fourth drafted running back is also opposite my big fade of Pacheco there. Certainly think there is room for him to be relevant in the fantasy playoffs. Omar and Hampton, fine. Devin Neal was a weird one in that it's a good landing spot in New Orleans, but just didn't get the draft capital I think we were hoping for. Some bad ones in here. Damian Martinez, that really did not go out well. But yeah, nothing crazy in here for running backs. Wide receivers, my worst one. 18.6% Jalen McMillan. That's going to look disgusting. I was happily buying him in the hundreds, and boy, did I learn a lesson there. Did not expect the Tampa Bay Bucks to spend a first or second round pick on a wide receiver. I'm going to take the L on that. Torrey Horton up here with neighbors, Josh Downs, Travis Hunter, Devontae Adams, Rashee Rice, Jaden Higgins at 16.3%. Feel really good about that one being double the field there. And then tight end, Hunter Henry, my highest at 23.3%. Bowers, 20.9. Kittle, 20.9. Goddard, 18.6. Fannin, 18.6. McBride, 16.3. Taylor, 14. Loveland, 14. So, yeah, nothing I'm going to go out of my way to balance here. And as you see, kind of the top overall exposures was pretty flat at wide receiver and was going heavy on these running backs, basically trying to bank the RJ Harvey spot, but tilted to the cheaper ones. Giddens, Brashard Smith, Jordan James, Devin Neal. Don't do this to me, Chris. Don't do this to me. Which teams improve their O-lines the most? Stop. I do know it was funny because someone was in my comments on one of the videos and they said, I am not drafting JSN if the Seahawks don't address the offensive line. And I forget who the other one was. Maybe it was the Raiders. It was like, I'm not drafting any Raiders if they don't. I believe both those teams addressed offensive line at some point. But you tell me, chat. Which offensive lines are you guys fired up about and being new and improved here? Jason says, I never thought I'd say this, but Najee might be a value. Sure. Yeah. I mean, not at his opening price. He's definitely overvalued at his closing big board price, but that's where we have to see, does the pendulum swing too far? I think for guys like him, Christian Kirk is another veteran. I'm curious to see how cheap does he get, but because risers often don't rise fast enough and fallers don't fall fast enough, I do think I don't want to be catching the falling knife on day one and day two. I want to see where is Najee going to settle, and then I'll start to see, is that a guy I want to start sprinkling in? Do I want to start buying the dip there? Did the market overreact too much? But he has a ways to go from this current ADP, I think, for that to be a conversation. Can we get a Bruce Buffer? It's time intro from when the contest actually drops. Sure. If I remember, man. Yeah. See, this is what I love. I mean, people hate DeAndre Swift. Here's a comment. Swift, he's horrible. If you guys want to just all pass on Swift, so I think, so I can have a bunch of Swift at 120. Let's do that. How do you think this is going to go? We're all in on the Ben Johnson offense that just added Luther Burden and Colston Loveland. You're getting year 2 Caleb Williams. You have basically one of the best skill position sets in the entire NFL, one of the best head coaches and an emerging quarterback. And we don't think there is going to be production for a running back. Who do we think it's going to be? We think it's going to be Roshan Johnson. I'm confused at how we think this is going to play out. We know with running backs, it's opportunity that matters. The skill stuff is a secondary component. And when you look at the depth chart and what this front office and coaching staff said, how they feel about DeAndre Swift in the draft is, we feel good with him being the guy who leads our backfield in touches. That's what the team told us. So yeah, I will happily scoop up the DeAndre Swift if that is the ongoing sentiment here. Jalen Naylor will still be the Vikings wide receiver 3? Sure. Yes. That's why all of those guys they're watch list players. They're watch list. Would it be insane if Ty Felton is really good and beats Naylor out in camp for the wide receiver 3? Would that shock anyone? Shouldn't shock you. The smart money is on the veteran who's a solid player holding on to that job. But that's why you don't need to get your Ty Felton shares on day one. You can wait and hear if he's actually making waves in camp. Clay just had AI project likely week 17 matchups. We're locked in. Wow. You guys are sick. You guys are sick. All right. I'm getting the O-lines that improved here. Yeah. Patriots O-line. I've been watching videos of Taylor squatting 600 plus pounds at LSU. So I think that would check out. Vegas definitely feels sexy, man. The improvements all around there. They are loaded up and ready to go. Yes, Chicago line. Chicago Pats. Eagles added 3 offensive lines on day 3. And knowing their hit rate means they added 3 starters somehow. Can we draft Justin Tucker? The Ravens. The Ravens drafted a kicker. I think in round 5, round 6. Had to get a little happy ending insurance there in Baltimore. Yes, when Kerrane comes on at 11, we'll be able to find out where he is willing to take Drake Maye and Kyle Williams. One thing I was talking about with Sacrilegious on the After Dark show on Saturday is there are a decent amount of these quarterbacks whose outlook improved, but we both didn't really think it was going to manifest in quick rises in ADP. Examples would be Caleb Williams, obviously adding weapons there. Drake Maye, getting TreVeyon Henderson, getting Kyle Williams. I think those guys definitely have a better outlook than they did before the draft. But the way the quarterback stuff works, the way people prioritize stacking, I'm not too worried about a runaway ADP at quarterback in the way I am for some of these other positions. So I want to be patient with those quarterback stuff. We were using the example of CJ Stroud. Obviously last year when BBM opens, everyone's getting excited about the Dell, the Diggs, Nico. You see CJ Stroud going in the early 5th round, the 4th round, everyone's tripping over themselves to lock up that stacks. By the end of the summer, you could sometimes get CJ Stroud, at the 6-7 turn. The 7-8 turn. He was falling like a rock because everyone kind of gets out of each other's way. They're focusing on their stacks. They're focusing on other positions. So I'm not too worried about any massive quarterback risers. I think if it does happen, it'll be slow and then kind of on a draft to draft basis. And similar with the DeAndre Swift stuff, there still are a lot of Drake Maye skeptics. And not even necessarily Drake Maye skeptics, but just New England skeptics. People still don't want to deal with that offense. Yeah, we like Kyle Williams, but is that a huge needle mover? Does Diggs still have anything left? I think there's not going to be the enthusiasm for a Drake Maye as there was even for, a CJ Stroud last year where the situation just looks so sexy on paper. All right, Mathology says, is it Arizona was the most improved O-line coming into this year as a top 10 O-line? There you go. What can the Bears do to ice running back to ice Swift, Dobbins? And even then, I think it is probably, even then it's probably a split, right? You'd have Dobbins on some early down stuff. I think Swift is going to have the pass catching role. The change of pace, the 2-minute stuff, pretty locked up. The question is, will he be getting goal line carries? I think that's kind of the biggest domino. Sure, if they added a big bodied back like that, maybe he could get flipped there. But by the day and, since the draft, that it just looks less and less likely. All right. I just noticed a DM here from my guy Berm at Underdog. He says, in honor of the big day, let's give away 4 free entries into BBM on stream. All right. I love this. Let me let me set up a StreamYard giveaway here real quick, and we'll give out some BBM entries here while we wait for the contest to drop. Once I figure this out, it will be a hashtag in the chat. Shout out Berm. Although he said, I had just seen his DM. He said, it's not letting me donate to get your attention. I should have pretended like I didn't see him DMing me, so I could have forced a donation out of him to the stream. What a miss by me. All right. The hashtag we're going to do, you know what? I'm going to take it easy on you guys with with the Roman numerals this morning, and we're going to do hashtag BBM6 here. You'll see it on screen. Hashtag BBM6. Drop the hashtag in the chat, and this will get you an entry into a spin, and we'll give away 4 Best Ball Mania entries here. Hashtag BBM6. That's BBM, the number 6. Although I don't know if I need to service the audio listeners on this one, because this giveaway is going to be done by the time you listen to this audio. I will, if you guys are not able to catch a 4-hour live stream, I will be posting this audio on the In a Vacuum podcast feed. I'll upload these episodes there so you guys can catch it on the go if you need. We will always remain steadfast in our commitment to serving the audio listeners. Look at you guys. We have 759 people watching. We have 252 people who have entered. This really is how you bring out the lurkers, right? You know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm just lurking. I don't really talk in the chat, can be intimidating. Wait, we're giving away BBM entries, hashtag BBM6. That's how you get everybody to come out of chat hibernation. We'll let a few of these trickle in here, and then we will do some spins here. And we're going to have Kerrane joining us in a little bit, and I am hopeful that Best Ball Mania will be dropping very soon. God bless you guys. It's already been 52 minutes of vamping, and to me, it honestly felt about 10 minutes. So congratulations to you guys for making my job fairly easy with this vamping. Oh, it does look like I got Sam Berman to become a member. So there you go, Sam. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member to get my attention. Yeah, I wish there was a way for me to enforce this. UTalk Sports says you should have to hit the like button in order to be eligible to win. I should have just lied and saying, I'm sorry. Yeah, StreamYard knows. StreamYard knows if you didn't like the stream. It will be prejudiced against you in its randomization if you didn't like the stream. There's a lurker lurking. And I will say, if you've already done the hashtag once, it is not going to give you extra usernames, although I suppose it doesn't hurt here. It does not hurt. How about this? While we wait, let's go ahead and let's start spinning here, because this contest could drop shortly. We're going to have Kerrane joining here. So let's actually get the spins going. Again, shout out to Underdog. It's going to be an awesome summer, and I appreciate the giveaways here on the channel. Appreciate everyone watching. We don't even have a draft to do right now, and we have 776 people watching. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate Underdog. It's going to be a great summer with all the contests, all the festivities, all the content. Let's give away a few entries. If you win, it's going to show your YouTube username. I'm going to need you after the show in the comments to put your Underdog username, and then I will send those to Berm, and we'll make sure you guys get credited. So you'll see your YouTube username here. If you're one of the winners, put your Underdog username, not in the live chat. There's too much going on. I'm going to miss it in the live chat. After the stream, put it in the comments, and then I will make sure you guys get your credit here. So let's see our first winner here for a BBM6 entry. Can you imagine shipping the top prize on a free entry? That'd be so good. All right, AP wins a entry here. That's our first AP after the stream. Make sure you leave a comment with your YouTube name. Let's draw again here. Who do we got? Zachary Byrne. Congratulations there. Number two, we got AP in the chat, is hyped up. Zachary Byrne takes down the second one. We are going to do two more here. Let's get it. You have a 1 in 365 chance to take down a free BBM 6 entry. We got Chief Smoke 35. Congratulations. Chiefin on a free BBM entry there. And our final winner, and again, shout out to Berm, shout out to Underdog for hooking us up with a giveaway here. Come on, big money. Who's it going to be? Charles Nelson. And yes, he has the laser face avatar. Man, the faces of Phillip Rivers used to be one of my favorite things. All of my initial fantasy football teams, when I first started playing fantasy football on Yahoo, my avatar was always some kind of version of this photo, of this Phillip Rivers. I always did Phillip Rivers laser face and that was also the name. Where's the one with the laser eyes? Man, is it not going to pop up? That was the name of one of my teams, was Laserface for a long time. But yes, apparently the internet has tried to scrub these from existence. But that is a goated profile picture. So congratulations, Charles Nelson. Like I said, Charles Nelson, Chief Smoke 35, Zachary Byrne, and AP. Please, after the stream, leave a comment with your Underdog username with this same account. I need it to say AP and then your Underdog username, etc. And I will get those over to Berm and get you guys your free entry. Let's see here. Yeah, Patrick Donovan thinks my sim was broken. Yes, I'm sorry. Maybe we could get Berm to do 375 free entries and we just spend the rest of the day spinning the wheel. Matthew has been a YouTube member here for 18 months, fired up for BBM 6, as am I. Devin, becoming a member here. If you guys are new, if you become YouTube members to the Best Ball Value Hounds tier, there's a few things you guys get. One is a weekly premium After Dark show. It's only for YouTube members of that tier. And they're going to be all best ball focused going forward throughout the summer. Like I said, on Saturday, we had Sacrilegious on, developed a plan for Best Ball Mania. Sometimes they're evergreen conversations, getting to know the guests. Sometimes we will get in the weeds about best ball strategy, best ball metas. So yes, if you're a YouTube member, you'll get access to those extra premium shows. And then on top of that, if you join the Deposit Kingdom Discord, which is where all of us hang out throughout the day, you can go and sync your YouTube account with the Discord account. I know it sounds complicated. It isn't. There is a FAQ in there to help you do that. You'll get access to the Best Ball Breakfast private channel. And in there, I tip you guys off when I'm going to hop in a draft. So obviously, as the summer progresses, lots of people want to hop into the stream drafts. You guys will kind of get the heads up in there as another perk to your membership. So thank you, Devin, for becoming a YouTube member there. Oh, wow. We got Gritty. In the chat here. Beautiful. Let's see here. Crutch standing his Ty Felton bags there on the Vikings. Hey, I respect it. Chipsy coming over the top here with his 24-month badge. And let me throw on my headphones because we got our guest here. All right. Let's see. Make sure I have the right headphones on. All right. Thought my guest was here and then he dropped off. All right. Gritty's here. No elite QB is safe. All right. Here's Kerrane. All right. Let me get this situated here. All right. Pat Kerrane, how we doing? Oh, I don't have your audio.
Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I got to turn the mute thing off. It keeps getting me. Yeah, doing good. Got the rankings up and it's ready to go.
Yeah, I downloaded the rankings. Going to get those uploaded. I just vamped for an hour because Best Ball Mania is still not open.
No, I saw. I jumped on. I jumped on the app right before I got on. I was like, okay, I guess we're maybe just hanging out.
Yes, a little birdie said it hopefully shouldn't be too much longer. So yes, we will. We can chat here a little bit, and like I said, guys, I will let you know as soon as this is launched. We will hop in a draft right away. Pat, as has been the case for the past 3 years, will be live with me every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern as we draft a team together, kind of navigate the ebbs and flows of the off season. But yeah, let us know. I know you guys were hard at work over the weekend getting the rankings prepped. How big of an undertaking was that? How big of shifts did you guys kind of see in the macro as you guys were, putting those together?
We updated the rankings process a little bit to kind of like show our work a bit more. And as a result, it takes longer. So when it's like small stuff, it doesn't take, as you kind of like, as we did the changes throughout the big board, it wasn't particularly time consuming. And I think it's a good process. So I like it. But doing all the basically like a ton of changes, a mini off season's worth of changes yesterday after the draft was a bit of a marathon, but I had lots of help. Sacrilegious, Drico, Kyle Dvorak, Daniel Raz. We all kind of dove through, and then Dubner posted some thoughts as well. So I'm feeling pretty good. There was a couple spots. The big questions that I was kind of wrestling with are like, how much ADP? Because as you know, like there's an ADP component to the rankings, but how loose should that be to start?
Yeah.
How many players should I just say like, don't worry about ADP, just take this guy like where we think he should go?
Yeah.
And I ended up getting pretty loose with it, and in a lot of cases, just saying like, take this guy. Maybe not always exactly where we have him ranked, but pretty close. And letting the drafter kind of then decide like, okay, that we like really like this guy. If you want to try to play the ADP game with RJ Harvey, that's up to you. But I'm not going to pretend that we don't have him in, the kind of the 60, 70 range.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah. And I saw that note when you guys sent across that. And now, we have the ability to toggle quickly between ranks and ADP.
Yeah.
And you can kind of make that decision. Because at this opening start, what is most interesting for people or as someone using the rankings is like, I want to know what you think the true value is. And then it's up to me right now to figure out how much chicken I want to play with that price.
Yeah. I do like the rankings. Like you can kind of just draft off of them because they're close enough to ADP, but and obviously think about your team construction and all of that. But yeah, in this case, it's just like, that would have done more harm than good, I think, for like, don't take RJ Harvey till 110. It's like, no, everyone knows. Okay. Everyone knows that he got drafted by the Broncos in the second round. We're not going to like take him 20 spots higher than he went before or something.
Well, the reason it's effective to have your ADP anchored, to have your ranks anchored to ADP later in the summer is to that effect. The problem is the ADP right now is as least stable as it will be all year. So anchoring it to something that's not going to be stable, like defeats the purpose of trying to anchor it.
Right.
But because I did a show with Sacrilegious on Saturday and we were kind of going through and trying to pick off risers, fallers. And while there is some obviously big stuff, it didn't feel like the phrase I used that it didn't get flipped on its head, like the ADP landscape in a way I thought it might have with all of these running backs. Did that feel similar for you as you were putting the rankings together?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that I was noticing is that there were certain players where it was like, I was adjusting rankings. I was like, oh, I guess we're going to be kind of into this veteran kind of backup running back. Like I think Rachaad White or someone like that. I'm like, oh, we're a lot higher on him now. And then I like went and checked everything we were saying about White. And it's like, we haven't changed him. It's because what happened is that there's so many there's like a glut of players being drafted in like the 150 range where we like got the answer. And so they're either like way up or further down. And so there's like this group of players that actually like moved up from like 160 to like 150 by doing nothing. So that's one thing I noticed is that there's like, I think the 14 around 14 plus, like some of those premium dart throws, I think that texture is going to feel pretty different. Might be a little bit more veteran heavy. And then, I mean, there's not like outside of Harvey, I don't think Johnson really changes that much. He moved up a little bit for us, but not like anything crazy. He's a third round pick. So he should move up given the landing spot, but he fell further. I mean, you would hope he would have been like an early second round pick would have been the hope. So yeah, I think that is generally true.
Yeah, and the other kind of things, to your point about like some of the pockets of the draft, like I was looking at that one with Sacrilegious on Saturday, like in the 100s, obviously you have the McMillan and Kirk Fallers, but then you hit like Marvin Mims, you hit Rashad Bateman, you hit Keon Coleman. Like those guys were just placeholders. Like those guys are now going to move on and you're going to have the efficient group move up. And that's what I feel like you see those chunks of slides of like, oh, those backup running backs like Corum and Trey Benson, who things kind of broke better for, like they jump up and like, I think you're just going to see like these chunks of 10 move up, chunks of 10 move back, stuff like that.
Yeah. Although Corum, we actually, I think moved down a little bit because of Hunter.
Really?
Yeah. A fourth round pick. Yeah. And Corum wasn't good last year. So you kind of, but yeah, the couple guys who moved up more than I thought they might. Well, Jaden Higgins moved up a lot. And I had been targeting him, and we were at one point, like I thought, ultimately 2 ahead on him, and kind of cooled off a little. And then he's way up from the hottest we ever were. But I started to wonder, like, if he doesn't get the draft capital plus landing spot, like, is this prospect profile kind of worth having a huge bag of? And I mean, I still have doubts about the prospect profile, but he got the landing spot in draft capital. Like it came through. So he moved up a lot. And then Trey Harris, I started to get nervous about his draft capital, but he obviously he got it. So, and then the landing spot's awesome. It's like really awesome. So he moved up a lot. That'll be kind of interesting too. I think how we ultimately like end up pricing out these wide receivers, these like second round wide receivers, and even Abuka, who will be kind of in that general like late single digit rounds, maybe even early double digit rounds. Like how we price those guys out will be really, really intriguing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I was kind of saying earlier. Like with the falling guys, I want to probably sit those out as much as possible in the first few days and just see where they end up. Like, I don't want to be the one like establishing the new price, on some of those guys, because it's like when you don't have the momentum of the steam, it's like, it's not going to get away from you and it could get a lot cheaper. Like if people get really spooked. And so it's like, I think not falling for like fake ADP values when that ADP is not real is going to be an important thing over the next couple days.
For sure.
Did you have you done any drafts on other sites? I was seeing some of the ship chasers had started doing stuff and seeing some of the data points. And it seems like the, stuff like the RJ Harvey, Jaden Higgins enthusiasm is already completely out of control.
Trico did a FFPC draft last night and shared the board with us. So that's as close as I've come to actually drafting, but I mean, it's interesting. I mean, Harvey went, I think, in the 60s. But on FFPC, that's like, he went at 604. But that's like 804 by underdog standards. You know how FFPC is about the running backs.
Yeah. People wondering here, how excited were you about the Drake Maye gets some offensive line, gets TreVeyon Henderson, arguably the most exciting back in the class after Jeanty, and then Kyle Williams, who became kind of a film darling, a late steam riser there. How are the Drake Maye bags feeling?
Well, we weigh up on Williams because he gets decent enough draft capital, and obviously the best landing spot there is. No, it's a pretty good landing spot. So I'm gonna be bullish on him to a point. And then Henderson, we actually moved down. I mean, it's not a great landing spot for a running back. Like, it's not horrible, but the offensive line isn't very good. And you do compete with Ramondre at the start of the season. I think he'll take that job, but it's not, the Cowboys or something like that where we would have been doing cartwheels. So I think it's funny, like with these rookie prices, a lot of it, we're trying to like bake in a smaller chance of the nuts and then a larger chance of like something that actually hurts their draft capital or their ADP a little bit or a lot of it after the draft. So like Hampton, I think basically stayed even though I think the Chargers a pretty good landing spot and he gets first round draft capital. But like the Broncos he was like a second round pick if he went to the Broncos. So, it's like, then he's sort of a smash in the fourth, even if a good landing spot like the Chargers doesn't really change his price.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the thing too, the Henderson one, I feel like I could see his ADP kind of doing a little round trip throughout the summer where like he'll slowly dip. There's going to be some projectable spots that people push up ahead of him. But then like it will be kind of dependent on like how good is the buzz from camp. If they're talking about him, usurping Ramondre early, that could get out of hand. But otherwise, I do think Henderson, you're looking at the classic expensive rookie playoff smash play where you're not getting a return on your investment for the regular season probably, but you are trying to have just a massive upside swing where it's like, could the offense click by the playoffs? And Henderson takes over and it's like, holy shit, he has, 25 point per game upside in weeks 15 through 17.
And I think relative to that, I mean, we'll see. It'll be interesting. I'm sure I'm going to be surprised on some of these prices, but Henderson, his finishing ADP was at 55. We ended up with him at 66 in the starting ranks. So I don't know. Like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are happy to keep taking him in the fifth. But if he does fall to the sixth, like if we end up kind of close to ADP there, then I think it's a fairly cheap running back upside swing given how good of a prospect he is, and that he was drafted early in the second round. So we'll see. I mean, he's not like, we don't think he's someone that's going to be crushing it out of the gate, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was, kind of like a 1B right away. Like he's got to pass Antonio Gibson. Ramondre, so he never got benched, but it's because the old head coach forgot to bench him. right? He was going to get benched. If the situation wasn't so bad, Ramondre actually would have been benched last year. So it's not, I think Henderson is a potential riser as we go through the summer. Certainly from where we have him ranked, where he ends up back in the fifth if reports are positive.
I feel like I can just like see the whole movie in my mind's eye already. And it's just like, he's electric every time he touches the ball, but Vrabel's still giving him only like 8 to 10 touches a game. But by the end of the season, it's just impossible to keep him off the field. And so it finally happens. Yeah. Like, why didn't you do this from week one? And it's like, well, we had to get Ramondre his touches. So like, I don't know, the way this tournament works, like if you can get a deal on Henderson falling a little bit because it wasn't like the cleanest of all clean landing spots, then you start buying that because the late season hammer potential is just so great.
Yeah. And Index has a suspicion saying the Pats are a dumpster fire. Also, Mondre played on a bad team last year. So it's the same as Saquon with the Giants. Well, wait, is Mondre the Saquon here? Because I don't think he's Saquon. He's never. I've been pretty bullish on Ramondre since he entered the league. I don't think he's anything close to Saquon though. I mean, if the Pats stink hurts Henderson and then somehow helps Ramondre, I'll be kind of on the other way on that. Anytime you're a veteran running back and a team invests heavily in a new running back, and that team also completely overhauled the coaching staff, you're in deep trouble. You're in deep trouble. I think Ramondre, I mean, he'll fall, obviously. He should fall, but he'll fall a lot. He's more of like, I have Ramondre near, Najee Harris. So Ramondre is at 129, Harris down at 122. I did my CLV on Harris was very good in the big board, Pete. But that's maybe not going to matter that much. But I think it's like that. It's like you're paying for a not all that great veteran who should have production early in the season and isn't like completely dead to hold it, but is an underdog to hold that production as we go on.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. BBM 6 is live. Hot best ball summer begins now. Pat, we got the 111. We got the sidekick ready to roll. The fresh rankings are up. The first draft of the 2025 best ball summer offseason feels good, man. It
does feel good. It does feel good. I'm excited.
Let's see here. How many? I always like seeing how quickly these drafts are filling up here as far as how many people are in. Okay, 2 current entrants. So I believe this is we might have snuck into the first draft here.
Wow.
We will
see.
Look at that. And also, people pointing this out. Really cool thing. We have 20 and 30 second clock options this year. I did the 20 seconds here for us.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, me too. Very nice.
I did a bunch of slows last year. I think I'm going to do more fasts generally, and the 20s are nice for fasts.
For sure. All right. Yeah, because the 20s, the 30 second you could reliably get a draft in 45 minutes, and I feel like the 20-second crowd will self-select as a crowd that will even be willing to draft faster than that. So you might be able to get like 25, 30-minute drafts in with the 20-second crowd.
That's nice.
Yeah. This is going to be fun here. Shout out everybody who snuck into this one. See some familiar faces here, including JJFC, Biff Tannen, a bunch of badges. No non-badges sneaking into the first Best Ball Mania draft here.
That would be kind of amazing if like you just kind of stumbled into the very first BBM draft of the summer, having not really played on the app before.
You just signed up and you just click, I'll be in here. And you're like, who is RJ Harvey and why did he just go at the 3-4 turn? All right. So the draft starts out, our first kind of rookie watch, Ashton Jeanty up to 6. I believe that's about where you guys had him in your
We have him 7, ranks.
Okay.
Yeah. Ahead of Puka, but
ahead of Puka. This is the classic Piss Boys room though, because we do see Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb go ahead of Bijan, Barkley, Gibbs.
So what are your thoughts on this turn here now?
So this turn here, I mean, I'm guessing like, do you want to lock up like Brock Bowers and then just see what's there? Or do you want to grab a Monra?
We could do Bowers, but we might get into McCaffrey, or we have to reach for like a London or something. So, like this guy probably double taps receiver. So, are you comfortable starting tight end running back in this room? Yeah, so he does what I was worried to do.
I think so. So. I've been less. Even just doing the big boards too, and kind of knowing some of the pockets. We also have some of the rookie wide receiver risers, so I'm cool with doing a CMC Brock start.
Okay, let's do it. CMC, I was checking like Coach Speak Index. I was looking to see what he had on the CMC stuff because I hadn't really heard much. It was they were in the same press conference, and this is actually from like early April, so it's not like super recent. But they were talking about how Brandon Ayuk, it's too early to tell when he gets back. We'll see what he looks like as we get closer to training camp. And then Christian McCaffrey, healthy, he's doing great. So I don't know. I think early BBM McCaffrey might be. He's not going to go here if it's like August and it's like, yeah, he's McCaffrey. He's not going to be at the 202.
The McCaffrey ADP, right? It's like you said, it's either going to be like 105 that he moves up to, or he's going to be in like the 9th round because something awful happened with his injury. Let's talk a little bit about, Brian Thomas was a fixture at like 1.8, 1.9, both kind of ranks, ADP. It looks like you guys gave him a slight ding, the slightest of dings for Travis Hunter. Is that true?
That's right. I think it hurts his ceiling like a tad, because you think about like what his ceiling was before they got Hunter, and it's like it might be the wide receiver 1. Like he could be the wide receiver 1 if the offense is really clicking. He has a secondary breakout. There's like really no target competition, but it's a well-designed offense enough to where, the defense can't totally take him away, and he's too good. Now, I don't know. I mean, I think it's more in line with, someone like Nico, or, I mean, like all these guys, I guess, could be the way, but it's like the huge upside seems a little bit less likely, because Hunter's really good and going to earn targets. Even if he only plays, 60% of the snaps or something, he'll be out there earning a lot of targets. So I don't think it like hurts him in a major way, but breaking ties between all of these guys, I would go Amon-Ra now. I would go Bowers now generally.
Yeah. Little PSA for everyone. Obviously, Best Ball Mania 6 is live. The Eliminator is live. $10, $200K to first. The Schnauzer is live. $3, 20 max, $100K to first. The Marathon is live. $15 entry, $1 million to first. The Sprint is live. $20 entry, down from $50 last year, $150K to first. The Big Dog is live. $500 entry, $200K to first. And Weekly Winners is live. The same $10 entry with those weekly prizes. And I believe there might still be a little more to come, but pretty sick, Pat. The lobby is packed and ready to go.
That's awesome, man. I love this Monday morning launch. This is great.
We did, it was 2 years ago. It was, I think, when we first started, must have been, it was after you won. So you won BBM 3. So it would have been BBM 4. They launched it on that Saturday night, because we did a Saturday night kickoff stream.
Yeah, I like that less.
As for you to be from like making ranks and all of that perspective.
Yeah, I do mean it from that perspective. And frankly, from a drafting perspective, I do like, my weekend as a content creator was, updating ranks, a lot of it. But, on Saturday, I was able to, round 6 of the draft, I was at, got a little shopping in and stuff. I didn't have to be in the house all day. So that was nice. And then everyone else could have normal Sundays. If you're not updating your rankings, you could have normal Sundays.
Exactly. All right. Josh Jacobs gets jumped by all of these wide receivers here. Man, I feel, despite this start, Pat, I mean, Chase Brown is a slam.
Chase Brown's kind of a smash.
Yes.
Yeah. He's at the wrong turn here.
Yes, this is a guy that I fully expect to be a fixture at the late second round, if not a little higher by the end of the summer.
Me too.
But this is a piss boy room. We had
eight
straight wide receiver picks from the 2-3 turn all the way to pick 32.
T-Mac there goes one pick ahead of us. I would have said he's worth taking ahead of Brown, probably, just given the way we started. We have Brown ahead. We have Brown ranked ahead, but
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't add anybody. Like Taj Brooks, what, in the 6th? They didn't add anybody.
Yeah. No, I have no problem doing that. So we got the quarterbacks here. If we want to go in that angle, pull up a wide receiver. What do you think? Should we go Devontae Smith or?
Yeah, Devontae Smith is prudent. If you want to have fun, we could do Hunter.
Yeah, I kind of want to, not saying that we can't take these guys, but I kind of I'm curious to see that where they go if we don't
that's
take
fair.
them and see some of these prices. And again, that would be an example of, while I don't think that's like an absurd spot, you're going to be able to get Travis Hunter there for a while if you want. I'd rather see kind of where are the spots where you can actually get him at a slight value to where he'll be in a month.
No, that's a good point. And Smith's interesting because, if they pass more, he's a really good player. You're getting a really good player. It's just, the situation's not so great for pass volume.
Yeah, so we start Brock Bowers, CMC, Chase Brown, Devontae Smith. It is funny because like I wanted to see like true prices for these guys, and then I'm like, we're just in a fucking wide receiver avalanche room like it's 2023. I'm like, Chase Brown should be one of the guys you are tripping over yourself to get in an early draft.
I know. That's what I know. Like Mike Evans. Hey, did you watch the draft? he took a Mecca Book in the first round. Like he used to go at the 3-4 turn, and it's now at the 2-3 turn. Why?
Well, do you know what that drafter says to us? I believe it's his username, which is "kiss my third leg." Is what he says to you dissing his Mike Evans pick.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's not what I expected.
Yes. Well, yeah, this will be fun here, and if there's one thing we have a lot of practice doing on this stream, it is fighting wide receiver avalanches there.
Are you where are you at on Jameson Williams? Because he's one where we're kind of low on. I think ETR's low on him as well, and you can talk to Leone about his thoughts maybe, but I'm like, this guy never is like really that strong of a play last year. But
who's that?
The people,
sorry,
Jameson Williams.
Oh yeah.
Jameson Williams. Yeah, I'm like, we're pretty far behind, and I don't necessarily like want to be, but I just don't really understand why he goes quite as high as he does.
Yeah, I think it's punch drunk Lions love. Just so excited about just that offense and just wanting any piece of it that you can get. And Jameson Williams just has had this propensity for showing up in like marquee games too. Like you can even think back to the playoff game last year against the Niners, or 2 years ago, obviously against the Commanders in the playoffs this year. He had a monster game. I just feel like he's on the bright lights, has exploded, and drafters just really think favorably about his single game upside when they're on the clock.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Rome is a guy that when I was talking to Sack on Saturday was saying should drop a pretty good bit. His ADP though will be pretty sticky for a while, I bet.
Yeah, he's got to drop. I think his season was concerning. He doesn't really stand out from Keenan Allen. He, I think, had 1.22 yards per route run, something like that. Ridley's pretty nice here, man.
Yeah. Ridley ADP of, I guess the ADP is just like so fake right now, but ADP is 65. He's a guy we were saying is going to probably move up into the early fifth just once people have the certainty of Cam Ward being his stacking partner.
Totally.
And now we could do Jennings with McCaffrey if we want to set something up with the Niners, Olave, Godwin.
The nice thing about Jennings in this build is that I think he's going to be an early season producer.
Yes.
Ayuk, he could like straight up miss several weeks. I was also going back and looking at Pearsall. I was like, we might be a little bit optimistic on Pearsall as a community, but also the rank. I kind of lowered him a little bit. But Jennings was like really solid last year, and maybe Ayuk is the guy you want down the stretch. But as your wide receiver 3, Jennings is kind of solid because I'm sure we'll end up with some rookies.
Yeah. And this was kind of why I felt okay doing the CMC Chase thing because and also we got to highlight the RJ Harvey price. But Ridley, Jennings, like this 5-6 turn, even in the big board, had been like a pretty nice wide receiver pocket. You kind of know, we'll obviously see what is available to us at the 7-8 turn. And if we think that holds true, but getting Smith, Ridley, Jennings, along with Brown, CMC, and Bowers feels good. And Pat, let's get the snap reaction. Everyone wants to know where's the biggest riser going to go. JGFC drove to New Jersey to grab RJ Harvey at pick 58 this morning. Where do you guys have him in the ranks? I didn't even get a chance to look.
I think 68. So this is some slappies slapping hard. This is we thought we would be like at least a little ahead of the market. And this is one where I just said, get ADP, get the heck out of here. We ended up at 69, which is a beautifully enough. No, he came out at 68 once everything shuffled. Yeah, we just took. There's no ADP tether at all or anything happening. It's just this is where we have him ranked, basically.
Yes.
So I thought maybe it would be like a little higher than normal, but no, we're like a round behind.
Yes. Yeah, I will be very curious to see the prices throughout the day. And yeah, in the Discord too, or on Twitter, let us know some of the prices you guys are seeing on these guys. I think there will be a pretty wide range. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if someone gets a pick, I don't know, 95, like RJ Harvey today. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but like, I think you could see like a pretty wide band of where he could go depending on the exact room you get in.
Yeah, what I would be hoping for is if I was at like the 1-2 turn, or sorry, if I was out of like the one hole, like the 101, and then I push him, so I don't take him in the early 5th, and then I push him, and he comes back to me in that kind of late 6th, early 7th. That's about as maybe, I guess the real hope is that you're actually where we are, and he comes back here in the late 7th. That's the dream. But I don't think I'd be pushing it much past that personally. Because, I mean, frankly, I'm a little nervous that he just went in the 5th here. Like, that's aggressive. He's like, I don't want to have to, like, not have any RJ Harvey now, who was my, I think I had 24% RJ Harvey in the big board. He was one of my highest drafted players. I had 36% on DraftKings pre-draft. Like, I hammered RJ Harvey, but don't make me fade RJ Harvey, please.
Well, the thing, I love JJFC, but my thing I'm asking myself is like, am I not going to be able to get RJ Harvey in the 5th round for most of the summer? I think I will be. You know,
I
so
think
then I'm
you
like,
will be.
I think I will be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just
I know,
rocket ship.
I don't know.
All right, we'll see what our guy JJFC does here. Shakir goes. I mean, I feel like it'd be very fitting to set up a Drake Maye thing here with Diggs, and we need a wide receiver. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Diggs is nice. He pairs well with Jennings.
Yeah,
as a maybe not early season production guy, but we'll get something.
One thing that I just noticed here, you guys came way up on Fields because you guys were pretty behind on Fields. What was the thought there, or what changed?
I think week 17 is just so important for quarterback. I mean, it's important for everyone, but like quarterback, you show up with a guy who gets benched. You only have 3 quarterbacks at most. So one of your guys gets benched down the stretch. Like, it just hurts you in a really big way. What do you want to do here?
Yeah, we could probably keep pushing quarterbacks. So it'd probably be Pollard or pull up or grab downs.
I would be down for Pollard.
Okay. We have Ridley. We're already doing the Titans.
Yeah, we're doing the Titans thing. It makes Ward more appealing later, where he's, if we get sniped on Purdy. Yeah. So anyway, with Fields, like they were kind of tied to some of the quarterback. There was a chance that they take a quarterback in the 2nd round. I didn't think they were taking one in the 1st round, but there was a decent enough chance that they take a quarterback in the 2nd round. Fields has had some horrible games. He's the type of guy who could get himself benched if there's any kind of competition, like even with like a Tyler Shuck, or if they were to take Milroe. What if they were the Milroe team in the 2nd or even 3rd round? Like, all of a sudden, he starts to look like pretty shaky. This, like he was behind Russell Wilson last year, who's completely washed. Like, the downside for Fields was pretty concerning to me entering the draft and not sure where the Jets stood on him. But then he comes out of the draft like crystal clear. Like, they don't have another. There's no other option. Like, they're riding with Fields this year. They're gonna see what they have.
Yeah.
If he's bad enough, he could get benched. But my concern is always like, this guy wasn't even that bad, and he still got benched. Like, he was good enough for me, and he still got benched. That's the outcome I want to avoid. And I don't think we really have that outcome's not in play. Like, he's going to be so bad that he didn't matter to your team and was a bust, and then got benched as well. Or I think you have a quarterback.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point of like, we talk a lot about like what teams tell us with the draft picks they make. They also tell us stuff with the draft picks they don't make. And whether there was an assurance to Justin Fields that they weren't going to be prioritizing quarterback in the draft or how that shook out, they have made it very clear that unless things go catastrophic, he's going to be their starting quarterback. And that gives you a wider moat for the bumps. Justin Fields is going to have a 2-interception game.
Yeah.
He's going to have a bad game, but he's not going to have the quick hook when there isn't a Jalen Milroe like looking over his shoulder.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think he's a pretty strong pick now. He's actually a guy with all the shuffling. He comes out like slightly higher than we like actually have him ranked. It's just like one of those as guys like move up and down with ADP and stuff. So we're in this general range. Kind of the general 90 range is where we have Fields. But we were behind. We had him in the like maybe late like 110-ish range, I think, and his ADP was 103. So we were like a little behind. Just kind of like, do you feel like taking the risk? They don't draft somebody, that kind of vibe.
Yep.
But
so our other rookie watch here, we had the second round rookies go off the board here. Jaden Higgins went right after we took Tony Pollard at pick 87, and then Trey Harris not too far behind at pick 93. What do you think of 8th round price tags on those guys?
I think that's going to be what we get. I think that's where these guys settle.
Yeah.
And that's like, it's totally reasonable. They both, I mean, Harris or Higgins gets the awesome draft capital, and then Harris gets the great great landing spot. And then, Higgins' landing spot's pretty good too. It's just that Noel goes there. And honestly, Noel might be better. So,
yes.
That's not ideal, but he's more of a slot. So I think he'll be fine as far as like routes and stuff go. Do you want to do Purdy here?
Purdy as one of these with the CMC definitely makes sense. You can see the queue as far as ranks is all quarterbacks. Man, I'm trying to see if there's anything at wide receiver here. You're looking at like the Pittman, Shaheed, Mims. How are you feeling about our wide receiver room at 4 through 9 rounds?
We're behind, but like I don't see what we do here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like we can't. I'd rather take Drake Maye, and we're just gonna have to take some guys later.
Yeah, we'll sit out this tier based on how the room has gone. There's one thing about a wide receiver avalanche. The other teams eventually have to swing back and take other positions. I think we have to commemorate this first draft with a Drake Maye, and then we can be done. Despite the Cam Ward option, I think we just shut it down with Purdy and Maye.
I think so. I think we probably do too. If Ward comes to us at a discount, maybe, but yeah. But I mean,
so here's. Go ahead. I was just going to recap the team here. So a 2, 3, 4, 1 through 10 rounds. We got Brock Purdy with CMC and Jennings. We got Drake Maye with Diggs. Along with CMC, we got Chase Brown and Tony Pollard. Our 4 wide receivers, Devontae Smith, Ridley, Jennings, Diggs, and Brock Bowers. So yeah, this is just going to be a team where we're going to throw a lot of wide receiver darts.
Yep. Wait, where did Najee go? Andrew's saying he's still going at ADP.
Who? Najee?
Najee.
Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Najee. So his ADP was 67. He went at pick 103. So he actually dropped. That's I think he'll drop more, but that's definitely a big reaction to it.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? So the other rookie watch, we talked about the Higgins, Trey Harris. Right before that, in the 7th round, we had Ibuka go 78, Golden 79, Burden 80. I guess the Ibuka one stands out to me there.
Yeah, so we went down to 99 on him, and we'll be kind of he'll float a little bit as things change. But I have a hard time seeing how he really produces much early in the season. So it's like very much a late season play. And then you're also looking at him in a lot of cases, like maybe not doing that much late. It's similar to JSN's setup. And I think JSN was a better prospect. So I guess I'm open to, the market just being like more bullish on him and having to come up a little bit from there. But I would be surprised. Like, this is not a player that I'm usually behind market on. Like, I was like pretty into Pearsall last year because I don't know, he's a first round pick and he's on 49ers. So let's take him, before total dust balls. But my guess is that this price doesn't reflect where he goes.
Well, and think about the Pearsall profile to the Egbuka, right? Like, the selling point of the Egbuka profile is his ability to earn targets. And if his biggest roadblock is a ton of target competition, like, at least when Pearsall spiked, like, you remember that Bucks game, and obviously he only really broke out in week 17, but his other big game was, it was a downfield play, took a ball to the house. I'm not saying Egbuka can't do that, but you at least can hang your hat on the big play profile and some contingent upside. With Egbuka, it's like what you want is a vacuum of targets for him to suck up. And that is now a really hard thing for him to have.
Yeah. And looking at the Coach Speak Index stuff after the draft, they were like, yeah, this has like nothing to do with Godwin's recovery, like, at all. Yeah. And they actually liked him because he was so similar to Chris Godwin. He said, Jason Light said, I'll be honest, I probably would be throwing up if someone else had drafted him. We love Jalen McMillan, and then Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are elite. Chris Godwin's still on track on his rehab. We'll be shooting for week 1 with him. Drafting Egbuka had nothing really to do with Chris's injury rehab. We're on the clock.
Want to do Beck with Bowers?
Kind of.
Let's do it. I mean, we're throwing ADP out the window, and obviously this ADP is bad for him. He should move up. But kind of what we said is we're going to have to throw a lot of volume at it. There's no like massive values at tight end and we're kind of done at quarterback. So I think we're fine here to get aggressive with these guys.
What's the next receiver after?
So we could do Noel. Get some more upside here.
Let's do that.
I want to see where McMillan falls to. And these veterans will probably hang around just based on how this room has been going. So I like getting some upside to our veteran room here.
Yeah, I mean, Javonte, we just don't need that profile in this start. And then the tight ends, like, I think are pretty solid picks there, but we don't need them. So yeah. Let's get the upside.
Yeah. Nick highlights this one. So Kyle Williams went to the Trey Harris drafter at pick 117. Where did you guys have Kyle Williams?
Let me look.
Sorry.
I think a little behind.
151. Yeah.
Yeah. That is one where I baked in ADP, though. So we have him higher than that. I guess I'm not going to get any value on Kyle Williams, I suppose. So yeah, I'll actually increase him. Our true rank is like 125 on him, and I think.
Do you know what's going to happen with Kyle Williams? His ADP is probably going to be correlated on a individual draft basis with the Drake Maye drafter, because you're going to have the Drake Maye drafter probably pretty excited to like double tap him in the like. I take Drake Maye at 120. I grab Kyle Williams right after at that turn. And so if you don't have a Drake Maye like guy in there, it's like maybe you can get Kyle Williams at a price. But if you have the Drake Maye guy in your room, like Kyle Williams isn't going to fall more than a round past him. It would be my guess.
Totally. What were you saying before?
So we went Jack Beck and Jalen Noel here. Obviously, I think a little bit ahead of your rank, but we're just catching up at wide receiver. Like, how are you thinking of the Las Vegas offense and kind of where he fits in with Myers, obviously Jeanty?
Yeah, I mean, that's just he's not like an ideal prospect, but I think he could be, someone that earns targets reasonably well and can do some stuff. Like, the upside is like kind of, Cooper Kupp-y or Puka-y, where you're like moving this guy around a little bit and he's, getting targets over the middle of the field. I still think that Jacoby Myers is going to be better, but, Besh gets a pretty good landing spot. The thing with the Raiders is like it's a good landing spot. I think you go on Chip Kelly offense. This guy got a lot of production out of Jordan Matthews. You know, we can maybe have Besh like not be that good long term and still like be productive out of the gate. So I kind of want to be invested in the Raiders unless they get expensive. Outside of Bowers and Jeanty, you know, it's not going to be that expensive to draft Raiders.
Yep. Trying to flag some other interesting prices. McMillan does go, Jalen, that is, at 142. We see Devin Neal go at 150. Draft capital wasn't there, but does land with the Saints, which is kind of intriguing. Only 2 wide receivers, or 1 other wide receiver taken after we took Noel, which kind of shows where the value pockets of the draft are. The drafter behind us, Pat, has 5 wide receivers. This could be a chance to get some more production in the way of like Joshua Palmer, Dobbs, or Leggett. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we could take. What other running backs are there?
It's Rashad White and Algier.
Yeah, let's do Palmer.
All right, let's see if I didn't get it
White.
quick enough.
Gross. Although what buck do we have? Don't we have a buck? No. Oh, we passed on Godwin. I was thinking about Godwin.
We passed on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have him as a value here, rank of 147. Not the ideal profile for a 3 running back heavy start.
Yeah.
But we can still get Palmer or Dobbs or Leggett.
Palmer, Dobbs is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are. But these are the dudes who like we need. You know, the Palmers and the Dobbs. Palmer goes. I can't believe I got sniped. I didn't think I'd get sniped on Josh Palmer in the first Best Ball Mania. That's not where I thought this morning was going to go.
We take Dobbs there,
Lord.
which I have no problem. I mean, Dobbs, Dobbs just got, I mean, his ADP opened in this at 142. That's like where he was going in the big board. Anecdotally, he was a guy that would fall in big board drafts.
Totally.
To me, Golden essentially plays a different position than him. Like, I don't think Dobbs, if anything, it's more of a rising tide lifts all boats situation to me, as opposed to like there's less targets for Romeo Dobbs now.
I think like if you're thinking about the different types of receiver, isn't Golden more like, you know, he's not as good. I get yelled at a million times anytime I compare Golden to players who are much better than him. But if we're looking at like the Dallas offense from a few years ago, he's like the CeeDee Lamb Golden. And Dobbs is like the Michael Gallup, you know, those two, like CeeDee Lamb's not impacting Gallup's routes, at least, you know.
I'm now mad about you comparing Golden to Lamb. Yeah. I can't even get to the point you're trying to make because I'm so angry.
Yeah, he's the guy. If like the problem with Golden is that he's not going to pull it off. He's not going to actually succeed as the CeeDee Lamb. But I think he's the dude where you're like moving around a little bit more, probably more of like a flanker than like a straight up X receiver. Dobbs is like their X. He's like their big guy. He like holds down that spot, handles press coverage, does all like the dirty work stuff. I don't think he's impacted that much by Golden's presence. Like his route participation, I think it probably stays roughly the same. And then it's how good Golden is. And this is where your anger that he's not CeeDee Lamb actually works in our favor because he's not CeeDee Lamb. So how many targets is he drawing away from, you know, how many, you know, how much is Dobbs's target share impacted by Golden compared to like Watson? It might be better. He might be better off with Golden than he was with Watson.
Yep. All right. Now we have seen a wide receiver run here in the 14th after we took Dobbs. Tillman goes. Keenan, who still doesn't have a team, goes. Io Minor, Leggett, Wicks, Jalen Coker, a guy who probably needs to drop a good bit. Jalen Royals to Kansas City at pick 170. Wan'Dale Robinson, 171. And then our Jaden Blue watch, Pat, he goes at 167. I have no problem with that. Jaden Blue into the 14th round. That seems fine.
Totally fine.
Another PSA here. The puppy is now live. $5 to enter, 1 million in prizes, 100,000 to first place. Also, the chat has been raving about the format for the Eliminator this year. They've switched up the way the kind of individual weekly pods work. After the first week is 6 of 12. It's all 1 of 2 until a 3-person final.
Whoa.
Yeah. So heads up matches down the
That's
stretch,
awesome.
which, for sweating, that is so fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Obviously pod luck, starts to factor in there. Do you want to get a chaperone-ass pick with Adam Thielen here?
Do I want to? No, I don't want to. Should we? Probably.
Probably. Yeah, get an 8th wide receiver here. I mean,
this draft is radicalizing me. You're drafting the rookies too soon.
I mean, we're now looking at, like, these were players that I wasn't trying to draft in the big board with 20 rounds.
Yeah,
Hopkins, Tolbert,
right.
Michael Wilson, A.D. Mitchell. Like, we just had to get a chaperone for our veteran wide receivers that we drafted at the top.
What about DJ Giddens here?
Okay. Yeah. Corum's here. Sampson. Yeah.
And then we're done at running
talk
back.
about Giddens as far as that landing spot.
I mean, you're betting on him as like the clear handcuff to Taylor, but you're also betting on him as like maybe having a little bit of juice down the stretch to where, he's not like splitting with Taylor exactly, but he's able to kind of rip off some big runs and occasionally hit your lineup, even if Taylor stays healthy.
Yeah.
But, compared to a guy like Devin Neal, who's, Devin Neal might not be the backup there. We get a little bit better draft capital with Giddens. We get the worst landing spot in terms of the incumbent starter, but I think we have a pretty clean, like, in contingent scenarios, we have a really clean setup with him. And then he's just a player that I was disappointed that he didn't go to Dallas or something, obviously, but it started to look like it might get really bad, and I think the Colts landing spot kind of saves him a little bit, because it's like, all right, you now have a path to just being a clear-cut upside handcuff, and I think he's a very exciting player, very, very shifty. So I'm still in, and this feels like a good price for the upside that he has. It's mostly contingent, but still.
Right, because you look at the backs going here. After him, Corum goes Dylan Sampson, who's buried. Brashard Smith, I do think that's an interesting click. And then Shipley, like, the Giddens thing is kind of like the Shipley, where you're saying I get a talented back who's a clear handcuff. Maybe I get a smidgen of standalone value, get maybe a sneak a touchdown in there, here or there.
Here or there.
But the contingent upside, if they are the running back too, which based on the draft capital and their depth chart, you would assume so. That's enticing in this range, where essentially we're depth chart hunting of, like, do we have clarity about this person's on the depth chart? I guess the counter would be we don't know yet with Giddens, but it seems pretty clear that's where he would be.
It does, because there's not much else on that depth chart. And so he was picked 151. Brashard Smith went 228. We were doing the ranking stuff, and I was telling Kyle, like, this dude's a star kick returner, Brashard Smith. Like, that'll get him to make the roster. He's like, he was a 7th round pick, Pat. Like, he might not be on the roster, Brashard Smith. Yeah. I think Giddens draft capital, it matters. If you're thinking about him relative to, I think even guys like Taj Brooks, Ollie Gordon, Brashard Smith, like, the fact that he went at 151, he went 2 picks behind Jaden Blue, which, hey, Cowboys, what are you doing? But, it's I think the draft capital is not great, but it's in a range where you would expect him to make the roster and probably earn what's available to him, which is the clear-cut backup role.
Imwald was asking about the tight ends who we hadn't got to mention yet as far as the rookies. Tyler Warren goes 125. Colston Loveland goes 106. So we do see that quick flippening between those two. Maybe Warren should be a little cheaper, but that seems like a fine price for the Loveland at that landing spot. Oh, we're on the clock here, Pat. Do you want to double up on a Cincy teammate with Gesicki?
Sure.
Get a second tight end there opposite Bowers. And I think Gesicki's a guy you guys have come up with a little bit in the ranks. I assume that's him dodging kind of all the rookie tight ends in the class.
Yeah, I don't think we're that much higher than we were, but yeah, I mean, we were not high on him before he resigned. Like when in the early part, the pre-free agency part of the big board, we're kind of like, he's really not a target if he's not back on Cincinnati, but he is. And since then, I think we've been like around ADP, but yeah, he's fine. I've actually been. Oh wait, we're up.
Yeah, we're on the clock. Our final pick, Pat. We have a 2-5-8-2. The sidekicks throwing like Lockett, Yoshivas, Vele at us.
Anything you like here?
I don't mind Vele.
Let's do Vele then.
I mean, we did have the little teammate stuff there with Lockett and Yoshivas, but I think Vele's fine there to get one more dart at wide receiver. And they're just in this draft, there's no interesting rookies that you feel comfortable taking without taking on massive zero risk, basically.
Totally.
Yes. What were you going to say right there before we made that pick?
I was actually going to say Dalton Schultz is a guy that I'm worried I'm going to end up with like a big bag of, but he's someone that we did move up because they didn't sign anybody or draft anyone. They obviously have target competition through the receivers, but not like that much more than last year because they lost Diggs and they lost Tank Dell. So now it's 2 rookies and Kirk. So there'll be more target competition than, there might have been, but I don't know. He's like completely free. And I think he's like still got the stink of like, he's so bad, they're going to get rid of him. It's like, well, they didn't. So I don't know.
Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to recap this team. Mike Leone is going to be joining us in about 5 minutes for another draft. Before we recap the team, Pete, let the people know what you got going on over at Leg Up. If you're watching the stream, you can see here we got the sidekick rolling here, helping us with suggestions along the way. What do people need to know if they want to dive in?
Yeah, legendaryupside.com/sidekick. You can check that out. That's currently $99 for the month. That's gonna go up. That was like a big board sale that I left going for today. So
that's what Sacrilegious said on Saturday. He leaked that alpha.
Yeah, it's still live. The big board sale's still live. But I'm probably tonight gonna end that sale. So if you want to check that out, just $99 right now. And $99 for the standard Leg Up subscription for the year, as well as just $10 a month if you want to check out the rankings and stuff. So legendaryupside.com, gonna have content rolling throughout the summer, best ball ranks, dynasty ranks, got the rookie ranks up on the site as well for all your dynasty draft needs.
Yeah, and looking forward to it there. The Leg Up think tank with the rankings does an awesome job, and love having Pat on here weekly, and we can kind of talk through the nuances of those changes. Let's recap this draft here, which, I think obviously if we could go back knowing how piss boy this was, we would have done Amon-Ra and then lived without getting Bowers. But other than that, I think we navigated this decently. Here's the team, Pat, and give me your thoughts. Brock Purdy and Drake Maye at quarterback, 5 running backs, CMC, Chase Brown, Tony Pollard, Rachaad White, and DJ Giddens. Our wide receivers got up to 9 of them: Devontae Smith, Calvin Ridley, Jauan, Jennings, Stephon Diggs, Jack Beck, Jalen Knoll, Romeo Doubs, Adam Thielen, Devon Vele, and then our 2 tight ends there, Brock Bowers and Mike Gesicki. Thoughts on our first draft?
I like it. I wonder, were there any tight ends when we took Vele? That would have been an intriguing kind of way to just tack on a 3rd tight end. Something I'm thinking I might do a little more of, even with the Bowers.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through the
Fannin. My boy Fannin.
Fannin was there. Yeah, that was about it. Then you're into Disley, Jatavian Sanders.
I might do some of that, like tack on Fannin as a 3rd tight end. I don't need since he won't do anything. but yeah, we swam against the current here. I don't think we got buried. The Avalanche did not bury us. It did make us take Adam Thielen. It did make us take Romeo Doubs. It did make us sad that we didn't take Josh Palmer. So yeah. So there were some consequences, but overall, I don't think we got buried.
Yes, and like this, of all the drafts, this first one is in just today. I think we're going to see a lot of craziness. I will say, have fun, do your drafts, but if you don't get all the rookies today, I promise you're going to have plenty of chances. Like in 2 weeks, so much of this is going to normalize. You're going to be able to get your targets where you want to get them. This was insanity. The combo of the rookie enthusiasm coupled with a quintessential wide receiver avalanche room had my head spinning a little bit.
I actually don't know if this is the best time. Like, if you want the rookies, it always was. If you want the rookies, jump in those first drafts. But I'm gonna wait until like JGFC tuckers himself out here, and I'm gonna wait in then. I don't think this is the time. Maybe if you're specifically now, if you want to draft like a dusty vet team. Oh, here's Leone. Hey, Leone.
I love that.
You'll love this environment.
About Josh Palmer, Romeo Dobbs, Adam. I was wondering if you guys were trying to imitate my draft.
We did accidentally though.
Leone, people have started hinting at this, and it did just crystallize for me right now. I mean, you and I are going to be drafting so many veterans on this stream this summer. I brought you on exclusively to draft 32-year-old veteran values for an entire summer.
Looks like it's shaping up to be a good summer.
You're gonna have a lot of fun in there.
Real quick, let me hit this question here before we say goodbye to Pat. Bucky asking, Pat and Pete, how are you guys divvying up your drafts? 50 in the first month, 50 in the last month in a mix. I'm going to be drafting all summer at a very steady drip, most of them streamed or, made for content. So that's me. I don't get to do, full GTO bro with this stuff. What about you, Pat?
I draft when I have time to draft. That's yeah. It's going to be, it's not as strategic as it might be if I wasn't doing all sorts of other stuff around these contests.
Yes. Leone, how about you? I know you've liked the barbell approach in years past, right?
Yeah. For BBM, obviously, full disclosure, I'm in New York, so right now I won't be able to pump out those drafts. But yeah, I like the barbell approach where you get sort of the ability to get huge ADP profits early on in the offseason, and then later in the offseason, your competition's probably a little bit weaker. Also, the ADPs kind of systemically change, right or wrong, on the rookies, who are always going to be their peak ADP is going to be end of May, and they're going to come back down.
Right. That's true.
So
yeah.
I remember last year we were doing the ETR ranks. We were panicking. We're behind ADP on every rookie. And then 2 months later, it's we're ahead of ADP on every rookie. So there's going to be some natural ebbs and flows.
Which one freaked you out more, Leone?
I'll let the people decide.
All right. Right here, this is going to be our fixture for Best Ball Breakfasts on Mondays this summer. Pat at 11, Leone at noon. Pat, we'll let you get back in the leg up lab, and we'll see you. I'll see you on Ship Chasing on Thursday, but back here on Mondays.
Later, guys. Good luck.
All right. Peace. All right. Mike, a few things here. I don't know if you saw, Best Ball Mania this year has 20 seconds per pick, 30 seconds per pick, and then also the 8-hour option. Pat and I did the 20-second just now because we were trying to catch up after a slower release. It might be better for us to be able to have 30 seconds to talk through things.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys taking that bullet, but you and me, we're going to need 30 seconds, I think.
That's right. So yeah, that will be that. And we're going to be drafting all summer long. I did just get the ETR ranks loaded in. And, one of the dynamics that I loved having with Sean was getting to draft off of different ranking sets, obviously getting different opinions. So this will be fun to talk through this. And I know you have the full team at ETR working on this stuff, and you're coming in blind, having not been able to do big board drafts. But Mike, we're going to figure it out on the fly. And if I learned anything from that first draft, we basically have to relearn all of this stuff from scratch anyways. My big board reps didn't seem to do me much good in that first draft.
Yeah, it's especially for the rooms that you're drafting in. I mean, it's going to be so much rookie heavier and wide receiver heavier. But yeah, those first 3 to 5 drafts, I feel like you're just getting the lay of the land.
Yes. And so I was saying to Pat too, I kind of like, not that we can't target the very fun rookies, but one, they're going extremely high, and two, I kind of like seeing where are they going, as opposed to being the one that reaches for them. Can we get some price discovery here that doesn't involve us? But man, the the RJ Harvey steam, the rookie steam. It is here. People want their first rookie BBM shares, and it's hard to combat.
The Harvey steam, I feel like, comes from all directions too. It's not just like the rookie, the people who love rookies taking him. Silva's been touting him at offensive rookie in the year in our chat at bad numbers, of course. But
I feel like you guys need some like merch that's like Levitan as like the angel and Silva as the devil, and Levitan says line shop, and over Silva's it says don't line shop on it. There's an idea there for the crew. This is the other thing, Leone, and I know what's that?
It's the same spot you and Pat had, isn't it?
Yeah, same spot 11, and also the first draft we did was just the classic wide receiver avalanche room. And already seeing it when you see CeeDee Lamb and Jefferson go ahead of the running backs, I start to brace myself for the type of room we're in. So Pat and I took 2 non-wide receivers with our first 2 picks, and that kind of bit us in the ass a little bit.
Yeah, it's the early drafts are tough because I do think you're probably like that Chase Brown pick you guys made. I was watching some of it. Like you're going to get some combos you're probably not going to be able to get later in the draft season, but you know, the risk reward on having to just pummel unexciting wide receivers to fill volumes can be tough.
What, you know, as we make these 2 picks, and I was kind of asking Pat, but what was your guys' war room like as far as getting the ranks updated? You know, obviously you're incorporating some of the like dynasty elements to it and the prospect evaluation. Are you guys baking in ADP, or how did you guys set those initial ranks?
Are baking in ADP slightly, not as much as we normally would, just because you still so weird.
Yeah, sorry, we're on the clock here. So Brian Thomas, AJ Brown, CMC. My thought would be we should take one of these wide receivers here.
Yeah, I think Brian Thomas is where I would go here.
Yeah.
I think Pat said he had like number 1 wide receiver overall upside. I think that's still true even with Hunter there.
Yes. A nice fall on Jeanty. This Jeanty Brock Bowers was a popular pick during the big board. Snaps that up. Do you want to do
I'd be CMC or AJ Brown, and I could really go either way there.
All right, if you can go either way, let's do AJ Brown this time. We did CMC on the last draft. One big difference already noticing between your guys's ranks and Pat's is they had pushed Jeanty up into like the 6-7 range, maybe said 7. I think you guys are kind of below. What are your thoughts on handling Jeanty?
Yeah, we've got Jeanty at the turn. I mean, it's tough. You want to be high. I mean, if you look at running backs that have the type of draft capital he's had, they're extremely safe historically. So I think it's fine to have him a little bit earlier. It's just we actually do have some like RB values the next couple of rounds. So prefer the wide receivers there a little bit when you're looking at value above replacement.
Yeah.
But it's hard. You know, we're trying to figure out the team level stuff on Las Vegas is definitely a spot that has more uncertainty than other teams. You know, you've got coaching switch, quarterback switch. So it's definitely a volatile spot.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, we're kind of trying to balance 2 dynamics as far as like getting weird individual rooms here on stream and also kind of navigating the new landscape. But yeah, what other kind of things were you guys considering when you guys were putting together that first batch of initial ranks?
Yeah, so we switch each year from like Herzig kind of manually does the rankings pre-draft, and then in the background we've kind of been working on our projections and the rosters all along, and then get them finalized when the rookies actually get picked. But with that, there's always a little bit lost in translation when you go to the pure numbers route from the pure kind of subjective route. So a lot of it's kind of like tidying up, making sure the positions we want are the positions we want. You know, if our ranks differ quite a bit on a player from where Herzig had them, just making sure that's something that, you know, we're sure about and confident in. So it's just been a lot of like pouring through stuff. And it's hard to get it right. I would tell our subscribers too, like the first week, the rankings are probably going to fluctuate a lot more as ADP settles in and we kind of get stuff settled than they will, you know, at any other point during the off season.
Well, and that's what I was saying with, with Pat at the top. They normally anchor their ranks to ADP, but for this first batch didn't. And just because the ADP is going to be such a moving target for, I think the ADP will get efficient really fast just with how many smart drafters are piling in. But these first 2 days, it's like, it's really hard to know what you're actually anchoring something to.
We anchored it slightly to kind of try and get, like, if you get in the right room and people are using some of the defaults, like, just to try and like potentially build super teams. But I do think it's going to stabilize, like you saw. Like, you used to have like 2 or 3 days. But I think you've got I think it's just going to be honestly luck of the draw this first day. You're going to get in some rooms where the preset rankings are completely useless. You'll probably get some rooms though where there's gonna be somebody out there that's gonna post a team that's everyone else is pissed about because they got all these rookies that fell or whatever. It's probably not gonna come from this stream though.
I know. It's funny too. You think people always like the like late night, like Friday night, midnight, get the people been boozing at the bar, come hop in. It's like we're Monday and Tuesday with all of the sickos. I'm trying to I don't know what kind of people you're getting stumbling home from the bar on a Monday night, drafting bad teams. I don't know where your EV angle shot is in this initial ADP window.
I was going to say, I'm going to be a Josh Jacobs guy again this year, but he actually goes a little bit earlier in this draft. I think he was close to the 3-4 turn when you guys drafted. Maybe not. But.
Yeah. And I think this is a good comment from Charlie. I'm less interested in straight ADP value, more interested about interesting combos that might not be available once ADP settles, for sure. And look at this happens again, man. Chase Brown comes back to us.
Yeah, I think he's got to be near top of our board. I'd ignore the Rashee Rice ranking a little bit. We're still working on that one. That one's obviously tough from a projection standpoint. I'm definitely on board with Chase Brown here.
Yeah, let's grab him. I'm surprised. I understand wide receiver avalanche rooms, et cetera. But man, Chase Brown to me just feels like such a strong pick now. Rashee Rice does come back. Both the Chiefs wide receivers are here. We could grab your Buffalo guy, James Cook.
I think
Daniels.
I'd go Worthy here right now. And think we actually just made an adjustment and have Worthy slightly ahead of Rice. The Rice is just, difficult between possible suspension, injury stuff to figure out. Lamar, Zay Flowers would have been kind of interesting there. We have a pretty optimistic projection on Lamar. He went at the turn though, anyways. So, but I like this. We've got more flexibility than you and Pat did. But I did like your guys' draft. No surprise. You like Romeo Dobbs, Adam Thielen draft with some running backs early.
Yeah, there's 2 elements right at play. There's for these rooms where one, people are trying to pick off what they assume will be CLV value, try to get a discount. But then there's also the novelty of drafting your first share of one of these rookies in the contest, and you're just like, do I really want to be clicking out of Thielen when I could just take Jaden Higgins 25 picks ahead of ADP and have a lot of fun right now?
Yeah, no, I get that.
What do you? I actually like. What is your boots on the ground take on the Bills? Because they didn't really add anything significantly at the skill positions there, despite being a team I think you could argue needed some weapons.
Don't let Brandon Bean hear you talking about that. He just went on the local radio, and I thought it was a parody for like 20 seconds, but he was complaining about. He's like, "You radio hosts, you just keep bitching that we don't take wide receivers." It was like, I was like, "Is this real?" It was kind of crazy. So he feels pretty confident that they didn't. I think they feel like they're justified by the success of the offense last year with nobody in that. To me, I don't know if that's the best argument. You have Josh Allen, of course, your offense is going to be really good. You do have a good scheme, but that doesn't mean you can't help him and make it better. But yeah, I think it's going to be really spread out again. I'm optimistic, kind of buying the dip a little bit on Keon and Kincaid, who are still young players that haven't brought in a lot to replace them. They're going to get their chances still. I think, Kincaid wasn't 100% healthy last year. Keon had some rookie struggles. We kind of knew he was kind of raw coming in. So I do kind of like those guys. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit spread out again.
Carter says he's using the ETR ranks for the first time today. Do I have to upload them every day or do they automatically update? They will update the ranks, but you are going to have to download the CSV and upload them whenever you draft. I think you guys, do you push out like daily updates, or do you have a cadence that you guys are going to settle into?
We will work on getting like a better timestamp, but in general, we're just like kind of constantly tweaking them. So if you're going to fire off a bunch of drafts, I just always tell people it takes like 2 seconds to refresh our page, download the CSV and drag it over to Underdog. Underdog makes it really easy to do that. So I always tell people to just do that.
Yeah, just bookmark it, and I do that before the shows with Pat and Leone in the ETR ranks, and just upload the fresh batch right before I'm hopping in there. We start with Brian Thomas, AJ Brown. We get Chase Brown coming back to pick 35, so second time today. Chase Brown has slid to round 3. So maybe I'll just be wrong about him being a riser, but I still feel pretty confident in that. We come back with Xavier Worthy, and now we are on the clock here. We got kind of a mix of running backs and wide receivers here. Yeah. Don't really see anything at tight end. What do you like?
Yeah, I like Montgomery or Kenneth Walker here, probably. Demont, I mean, he's finished like, I think we were at an argument about him. I know we're like, you can pick between those two, but where he finished last year sort of justifies being selected here. And that was with Jahmyr Gibbs playing a full 17 games. So you're still banking some contingent value there for Montgomery. I know there's probably some concern that, one, they're just probably not going to score as much as they did last year, natural regression, and 2, Gibbs just taking a little bit more of the load, but I just don't think Detroit really feels that way, especially during the regular season.
Yep. We add Montgomery there, touchdown monster. And we always think about contingent upside for some of the later backs, but maybe forget about it here in the middle rounds too. Kenneth Walker still here. If we want to grab another wide receiver, Addison, Judy, things broke decently for them in the draft. What do you think?
I think I'd go Addison or Judy here, just already having 2 running backs. We could take Walker, but I don't think it's necessary. Walker, I would go, I'm good with Addison. Walker, they continue to talk pretty glowingly about him. It sounds like, I know people have been worried about Charbs the last couple of years, but it sounds like they're pretty committed to Walker. We didn't see as much of the explosive plays last year as we know he has in him. So I do still think that's a pretty good range for him.
Yeah. And this will probably end up like, if you guys end up kind of ahead of market on Montgomery, that would be a spot too, where you don't want to show too much overconfidence in him over, the Walker. You guys had Kamara there too. You're going to ultimately end up kind of mixing your bets in that range. I like Addison a lot. I think we got him a little bit past ADP. He was kind of a fixture of the 5th round earlier in big board drafts. So getting him in the 6th seems great to me. I'm kind of just working under the assumption that JJ McCarthy's not going to, or is going to pick up kind of right where the other quarterbacks in Minnesota left off, and that they'll be good to go.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's a lot of upside in that offense too. Like if JJ McCarthy just happens to be really good, like we still don't know. We know that it's a really well-coached, well-designed offense. We know it's an aggressive offense in terms of throwing the ball. They play, a bunch of dome games each year. I think the big playability is there for Addison. And we saw last year that he's still very fantasy viable. I think people kind of overthink, Justin Jefferson's there, but these good offenses that are going to be plus pass rate over expectation can feed, multiple guys pretty easily.
I'm curious, are there any kind of like best ball meta things you've been thinking about? Obviously, it's been 2 years since you wrote the manifesto. You did a bit of an update last year. Are there anything in there that I don't want to say worried, but you think might change, or things that you have high conviction in, or like kind of what are the things in the landscape right now as it has evolved so much in the past few years?
I didn't redo it this year because I kind of felt like I didn't want to get to the point where I'm just doing the same thing each year, just with new numbers and new data. I think the big takeaway is like always just managing your draft capital in a really sharp way. I know that's kind of vague, but like in terms of the team construction, for me, I still think you can be pretty diverse. I know a lot of people have very strong opinions on They either go 0 RB or they go. I think if you let the draft fall to you early and you make the best of it, that's kind of gets you the best diversification and like good value on players early. And that's sort of the best of both worlds. If I were to dig in on something, it would be more of the element of teasing out kind of these different draft strategies. Are they good because the strategy is good, or are they good because the sharp players are doing the strategy and the non-sharp players aren't? That was one thing I found last year when I looked at simulating the playoffs based on all the teams that made the playoffs, was teams that stacked in week 17, game stacked, were more likely to make the finals than other teams. But those week 17 games hadn't occurred yet, so it should have had zero impact. So if you're thinking through that logically, the impact is that those people were probably sharper drafters and drafted better teams overall. So there's stuff like that that's really interesting to me, but it's just hard to tease out.
Yeah, and we've seen that dynamic play out. I think it was like 3 years ago. It was like Eno Benjamin had one of the highest advance rates. And he just ended up being a player that like 0 RB drafters in a really good 0 RB year were constantly taking as with their last pick. It was like Eno Benjamin did nothing. If you just pulled that and said Eno Benjamin was the skeleton key to a good advance rate, you do have to apply the context. And I think teasing out, like you said, what's happening there. And that clearly is kind of what happened with the week 17 drafters as well. Before we make our 7th round pick, I will go ahead and alert people on the RJ Harvey watch. He did go a little later in this one. I think with Pat and I, he went at 57. He went pick 74 here, which seems fine considering some of the other prices I've seen.
We honestly have him ranked right about there, and that's being dragged down a little bit by these preset defaults.
So we're looking at the running backs at the top are Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard, and then the wide receivers in the ranks, Diggs, Ayuk, Shaheed, and Downs here by ADP, Diggs, Jones.
Yeah, I'm Diggs or Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones gives us some more Minnesota love. Diggs just gives us more flexibility. We're pretty good at wide receiver. I know we like Drake Maye to maybe take later.
I'm going to do Diggs. The drafter behind us has 3 running backs and only 1 wide receiver, so pretty good chance that they don't take Jones as their 4th running back here. Yeah,
I do also like just setting up more flexibility for stacking with the quarterbacks. This gives us May, McCarthy, and Lawrence as options.
Yep. This drafter does go. They go Aaron Jones there. Man, good luck with 2 wide receivers through 8 rounds. Pollard is here. Brandon Ayuk, Shaheed, Downs. We have a 2-5 build with running backs and wide receivers.
I kind of like Ayuk here and just having less wide receivers and continuing to have more stack flexibility. What do you think?
Yeah, this room is a little less wide receiver thirsty as our last room. And then this will kind of give us flexibility. Like if we can get now in this room where we're kind of loaded at wide receiver, we can kind of look for a rookie value later. If we want.
I was going to say with Ayuk too, if there's some concerns about his health beginning of the season, it doesn't matter for this team. We are not asking Ayuk to contribute the first handful of weeks. We kind of want the late season hammer. And it does add, again, Purdy, we've got another quarterback, just adding to our stack options, because we're probably going to be taking 3 tight ends at this point.
Yep. And one thing, just the first draft I did with Pat, there's certainly at this next couple picks, 9, 10, the quarterbacks looked like the best values on the board. A lot of the wide receivers have been wiped out. And then at the end of the draft, there were plenty of tight ends. There's nothing fun or sexy about them, but your Cade Ottens, your Zach Ertzes, your Dalton Schultzes, they're all hanging around. So those late 3 tight end builds are going to be pretty viable. And there are with some of the other guys like Fannin, I went undrafted in ours. Like if you want to get a little upside at tight end with a 3rd tight end, I think we could find something.
Yeah, and I know it's usually not great to be in on like the mid-tier tight ends, but we do have a lot of ADP stances at least early on some of these guys.
Yeah. EH here says you should consider drafting 3 QBs and or tight ends before the schedule is released. He's obviously referring to, if you get the bye weeks, you could double up, take a 0. I still think that I just want to let draft capital that we spend drive that for us. In this room, Leone and I, like we said, we're probably already looking at a 3 tight end build, could easily be a 3 quarterback build as well. So that will work out in our favor. But like if we went the Lamar Jackson and, Zay Flowers route, we're not forcing a third quarterback because we're worried about the bye. We're basically saying by drafting before the schedule on fucking April 28th, we're okay to make that sacrifice, but to still draft the best possible team if we don't hit a double bye week or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, you could break some ties early for that. Honestly, more than the running into game stacks thing for me is the uncertainty of these guys that are going late. Like your probability of drafting dead players in rounds, once you hit the teens rounds is probably a lot higher now than it is later. Of course, you could hit some home runs, but when you go 3 QB, 3 TE, usually those guys are a little bit, we know they're going to play. We know where they are on the depth chart. So because we invested so much more capital in running back, wide receiver early, we don't have to take guys that have a high probability of being dead roster spots come the start of the season, because we're taking extra quarterback, wide receiver with those picks with less draft capital devoted to them.
Here's a quick roundup of rookie watch at the wide receiver position. Tet McMillan goes in the 4th, pick 45. Travis Hunter early 5th, pick 52. We see, let's see, who's the next guy? Golden at 80, Egbuka at 82. Burden comes off the board at 94, and then Higgins just came off the board at 98. The Egbuka one still strikes me as one that needs to slide a good bit.
Yeah, I heard Pat talking about it early, and it's just a really crowded room. I mean, you do want to bet on talent. That's a guy we have ranked, I think, 114th right now. So we're pretty behind ADP. It's just a tough sell. I don't think he's going to be playing over McMillan, certainly to start, unless Godwin isn't ready. But I think Pat talked about it really well, reading those coach quotes, that this is kind of just a talent they thought they couldn't pass up on. It's not someone they're taking because they're worried about Godwin's health.
The drafter in this room actually went Evans, Godwin, Egbuka, and then Baker. So they're all in there, at least with the team bet. We're about to pick here. Brock Purdy is here. If we want to get one quarterback in this range.
I think
Njoku's here as well. Yeah.
I like Njoku a good bit here. I don't know how you feel. Can you look at the tight ends real quick?
Yeah, the tight ends you're looking at Njoku, Kelsey.
So we do have a couple options if you want to take this stack first. I prefer Njoku the most of those tight ends, but I think probably locking in a stack at this point with 0 quarterbacks is probably the better risk reward pick.
The drafter behind us, who's already proved to be a bit of a wild card, has Jauan Jennings too. So yeah, no guarantee that Brock would come back. And I think, with our 6 wide receivers here, we don't need to be in the Pittman or Mooney business. So Njoku here at 110, and you guys have a nice ranking on him, 99 there. Lock up Njoku.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Did you guys, how did you guys think about, they draft Fannin in the 3rd round, still kind of questions about the quarterback. Is this just kind of like David Njoku year after year has proven to earn targets, have some explosiveness? Let's just keep running it back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Fannin picks like any indication of Njoku. He's got a huge contract. He played well last year. They just don't have much competition. And I mean, I know sometimes you can overrate volume, as my cat has decided to join the stream. I'm sure we will see him plenty of times this summer. But that's where Njoku, I mean, we had times in DFS where he was a must play because we knew it was like locked into like 8 to 10 targets. There's just no, it's a boring, easy argument. The offense probably isn't going to be great. The quarterback situation is very shaky, but you are getting a pretty talented, athletic, late breakout tight end who has a great runway in front of him in terms of volume.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess we're going to work under, I'm curious the way you guys do projections. Do you already have like an expected games played for Flacco, or one you're assigning to like a mystery quarterback? Like, how do you have that spliced out right now?
Yeah, we have it split a little bit right now between the different quarterbacks. We're kind of setting a team level quarterback efficiency. So, and then we're middling sort of the play calling a little bit based on that. But yeah, right now we've got Gabriel, Flacco, Pickett all with some volume. We don't have Shador with volume currently, but I don't think that would change things a ton for kind of how the math is working there.
Well, based on the videos I saw of the front office after the Shador pick, it seemed like they actively did not want to select him. So that seems like a safe bet not to give him any work right now. That was wild too. I wonder, that they had to have just been praying that Shador would have gone before they took Gabriel. Because they just that look like they would have had some coverage, like, oh, it didn't get Shador, so I guess we'll get our guy. And then it's like, we have to circle back and take both.
That was, a crazy slide. I was, I think a lot of casual watchers of the NFL draft were like, stunned with what happened. I think if you were paying attention, kind of knew he wasn't going to go the first round, but I thought he was going to go earlier than he did, even with that said.
Yep. Appreciate all 900 plus of you guys watching live on this Monday morning. We're going to be live every Monday at 10 a.m. I'm going to have some other streaming blocks that I add probably after Memorial Day, but we'll be rolling this 4-hour block on Mondays. If you guys are new here, subscribe to the channel. And if somehow you are new to Underdog, you can always get up to $1,000 deposit match and a free pick with promo code Pete. You can join us in here. We're drafting in the $25 flagship Best Ball Mania 6 contest, but the lobby is now packed full with contests, all kinds of different formats too. There's the sprint, if you like kind of a cumulative scoring element in the playoffs. There's the eliminator, if you like kind of the weekly sweat of a cut line versus one other opponent. Leone, I was mentioning they did it a little different this year, where it's after week 1 of 6 of 12, every single week, it's just a heads up where you and one of your opponent will advance, which is pretty
crazy.
Interesting. Yeah, for sweating.
Yeah, that'll like add some variance to the player ownerships later on too, I'm sure.
For sure.
We got I think Njoku was the right pick, but we got totally crushed on our quarterback targets.
Yeah, I mean, I guess not a surprise that Drake Maye doesn't come back to us, but definitely a surprise that JJ McCarthy goes at 118. Have not seen him go that early.
Yeah, it's a little early for Lawrence too.
Well, we can see here for setting up any kind of backdoor stuff. We could set something up with another tight end potentially. Christian Kirk. I don't know if we want to get to 7 wide receivers. He does go here. We could do something with like Spears and then set up something with Cam Ward could be an option. What do you think? Tootin is the rookie that's kicking around here.
Yeah, did Schultz go? Schultz probably went, right? No. Schultz won't go. I mean, I wonder if we could do Stroud with a backup, but I don't know.
You want to grab Stroud here just to get a second quarterback?
Yeah, let's do that.
Well, the other thing too is like we can also put Noel as a target.
Yeah, I was gonna say we already talked about being able to afford a rookie wide receiver dart late.
Yes.
We don't have a very good ranking on Stroud, but there's still part of me that just like, cover up last year a little bit. This was a guy we really were heavily into. So we're probably going running back here.
And Dole goes at pick 133.
Wow, jeez.
Yeah, this is our reality. You guys have Spears highest in your ranks. Tootin is the rookie behind ADP. We only have 2 running backs, Brown and Montgomery. What do you want to do here?
Yeah, I'm good with Spears, or was Javonte there too, or did he? Yeah, I'm good with Spears or Javonte.
Let's grab Spears. Definitely a draft winner there with them not adding someone. And he had a really strong finish to the season last year where the team kind of showed a lot of faith in him with, Pollard was banged up a little bit, but they were giving him goal line carries. He was showing the ability to score points, and now you get a pretty big offensive upgrade there, and his price is essentially the same as it was last year with the outlook, I think, pretty improved.
Yeah, well said. There's, I guess, the other quarterback. I mean, Love just went, like, you get a lot of those backdoor Green Bay wide receivers. if we needed more wide receivers, it would have been, I think, easier to go Love and like take a couple Green Bay guys late.
And that is what I've found is the most tricky thing about super wide receiver heavy builds early is if you get boxed out on quarterback, you don't have spots to set up backdoor stacks. And also the other dynamic we have this year is like last year, Bo Nix, Drake Maye, there were cheap kind of rushing quarterbacks going late where you're like, all right, I'll just play this angle differently. This year, all the rushing quarterbacks are priced up. Like, sure, you can take Dart or Milrow and hope they get starts and run a little, but it is a tricky dynamic to get the correlation right if you go super wide receiver heavy and get boxed out.
Yeah, and that's definitely what we're facing here.
Yeah, which is why, like you said, I have no problem pulling the trigger on one of those quarterbacks and setting up the back door.
Yeah, I guess like in hindsight, the two if you knew those quarterbacks were going to go, I'd probably rather have like Kincaid and McCarthy or Kincaid and May, Kincaid and one of those guys that went versus Stroud and Njoku, but you gotta gamble a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the McCarthy one was kind of the big surprise. I guess his ADP's here at 129. I mean, in the big board, he would often go later, but there's definitely enthusiasm around McCarthy. He strikes me as a player. Stacked? Let's see. That's a good question. Yeah, to the Justin Jefferson drafter. Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot of variability draft to draft with these pocket passers because you're going to see some people wanting to push it. Someone will take Jefferson and Addison and just be like, can I see if I can push it? Sometimes you'll see people reaching ahead. It's going to kind of be the Wild West in this range. But it is funny how many quarterback options we had after selecting Brandon Ayuk to then having none.
The flexibility giveth and taketh. It lets you be greedy, which is a positive, but there is a downside to that greed.
Yeah, and I think you also are feeling, and this pocket kind of existed in the big board as well, where especially now with the wide receiver or the rookies getting really efficient, it's like this round, it's like the quarterback when it gets flat feels like the best pick on the board. And so you're going to see pretty big positional runs where it's like, yeah, there's 8 guys here, but you only pick once or twice in this span of 20 picks, and they all could be gone by the time you pick next.
So we're looking at a 2-3-6-1. We're definitely going 3 tight ends.
Yes.
Probably going... I would think with our early investment in running back receiver, we'd get a third quarterback too, but it's going to be tough on the stack side of things. We're going to have to feel that out.
Yeah, I would say Purdy at 107, Stroud at 131. That is probably right on the fringe of like a 2 quarterback, right. 3rd quarterback build. If there is that could be a spot for like a Dart type of click if he's available late, where it's like, let's just get some unstacked upside there. At 155
or like
here.
8. I mean, you get A-Rich late too.
Yeah. Pat and I took Jack Bash way earlier than this. Dobbs is here. Rachaad White, Algier Eckler, Braylon Allen. What do you think?
I was thinking we could probably afford to go a little bit more upsidey at running back.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like Corum's your like really high handcuff pick. There's not really a rookie in this range.
Yeah, Corum, Allen would probably be the big upside cuts.
Yeah, I think I'd go Corum just because, we just know the running back fantasy points there exist in such a massive way if you get the guy right. Another guy like Spears, that the cost is much different than last year. There's a reason for it, but it's way, way different than it was last year. And it's another, year of wear on Kerrane. What are we looking at tight end?
Tight end, Schultz is still down here. If we want to just make sure we get that stack, like these guys are all essentially the same. I have no problem grabbing it. Or we could grab Strange now with BTJ, something like that.
I almost think just go running back. I think we can go tight end next. You think that's pushing it too much?
No.
We could take another swing, or I do think Rashad's a little undervalued here, but
all right.
So the Rachaad White case is I know it's one of like a boring Leone guy, but he's still probably going to be mixed in and get his touches and is the primary handcuff there right now. I have no problem where the market is taking Bucky Irving based on his upside. So I don't think it's I like Rachaad White more than Bucky Irving thing. And obviously if you think, Tucker moves past Rachaad White, then you've got problems. But overall, there was a pretty good draft for, I think, this running back room.
And I think the only question about Rachaad, I don't think anyone should question, what his role is in, pass game, third down scenarios, up tempo. They're going to use him. I think the interesting thing with Rachaad White is what is his contingent value if Bucky gets hurt? Does his role kind of stay the same and Sean Tucker fills that void, or does he actually see a pretty big uptick? Because that's kind of like where he goes from either being like slightly undervalued to being really undervalued.
Yeah, and I think at the price you're paying right now, like you've got some wiggle room there, I guess I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see here. So here's our squad. We got a 2-5-6-1 going. We got Brock and CJ Stroud at quarterback. We got Chase Brown, David Montgomery, Tajay Spears, Blake Corum, Rachaad White. So despite only 2 running backs through the first 130 some picks, rounded out that room nicely. Still looking good at wide receiver: Brian Thomas, AJ Brown, Xavier Worthy, Jordan Addison, Stephon Diggs, Brandon Ayuk. And then we got Njoku holding it down at tight end. And the haters will say that you have yet to draft a rookie here on BBM opening day, Leone.
I do think there's going to be naturally previous years in BBM, you had a really good window when it opened to get some extremely good values on the rookies when they were low in the default rankings and people didn't know who they are. I think that window has shrunk maybe to almost nothing, just between our drafts and watching Pat's. And again, a lot of volatility based on the draft room you get in the first couple of days. But we definitely saw last year, like the rookie fever was highest in May when all the people that are like into rookies, that are super, a certain type of drafter that are super excited by young players, like they're drafting. The rookie ADPs will come back to you at some point. Now, I think it's okay to make some reaches and make sure you get some of that upside into your room. So maybe we can get a rookie wide receiver late here to at least check a box that says we drafted one rookie.
I'm looking at here, this was, Trey Harris goes 112, Kyle Williams goes 132, Jalen Noel went 133. And I do think like what we're going to see is like, the Trey Harris's, the Jaden Higgins, like those prices are going to stay hot, I think, because they're pretty good landing spots, really good draft capital. I think we're going to see this secondary tier of rookies, your Jack Beshes, your Jalen Knowles, the ones who have more of a perceived logjam to targets, those ADPs are going to settle back down. Like, yes. I think they're going to be frothy today, but ultimately those will come back down once everybody wakes up out of their, fever dreams.
Yeah, and
sweet. Yeah, we have 4 more picks here. Seeing some of the quarterbacks go: Cam Ward, Geno Smith, Anthony Richardson. Someone in the chat was asking about Keenan Allen. You guys don't even have a rank on him right now that I saw.
Yeah, I'll double check on that. Make sure we don't have any issue there with some of the free agents. He probably should be ranked, just given that wherever he goes, he just consistently draws a good target share. I think we gotta go tight end here. I think just take Schultz.
Let's just take Schultz.
Like, don't mess around. We can get someone else coming back. Yes. Was disappointed to see both A-Rich and Cam Ward. If Cam Ward had slipped there, I think that would have been really good for us.
Look at the state of late round QBs this year, Leone. We are on the clock in the 16th round here in a sec. It's Dart. It's Dart, Sanders, Russell Wilson, Milroe. I mean, it is wiped.
I think I would go Dart here if we
just to lock up some of that quarterback upside.
We do have Freiermuth as such a good value, though, is the only like sticking point there. because you could go Dart and even like, I don't know, Theo Johnson if you want to get the stack.
I kind of like that.
It's just a question of like, do you need this stack that badly, or should you just take, Freiermuth or whatever? But let's do the Dart thing then.
Let's do Dart. Like, I like Freiermuth, but there's also, we did get our second tight end. There is still a nice string of kind of tight end options here. We could also go with one of the rookies or Theo, like you said. So I think getting some quarterback upside in a pretty, and I'm trying to tell, is this like a quarterback thirsty room, or is this just the new landscape that you get to round 16 and there are not any guaranteed starting quarterbacks?
It might be the new landscape. As you said, just like last year, we knew we had a certain set of guys that we could draft late. And with those guys being gone, people might just feel the pressure early. Like they don't have that fallback option.
Yeah, man. Some of this rookie enthusiasm, man. Terrence Ferguson, 176, Pat Bryant, 177, Alec Iomanor, who the Titans took a wide receiver I'd never heard of ahead of, goes at pick 169. Man, the rookie love today, Leone.
Got to check the box. We've got one pick left.
Well, no, we took Jaxson Dart. So the hater,
oh yeah, we checked. Yeah. I was thinking receiver, skill player, but yeah, we checked the box.
What do you think? What are you guys handicapping? Like Jaxson Dart is going to start at some point this year. The question is when. What would you set the line at?
Yeah, that stuff's like we have him a little bit slanted in his favor right now. It's so much easier to answer that when we have the schedule, though, because there's usually some natural, like, after a tough stretch of games or after the bye week, you can kind of pinpoint a little bit better and make a pretty educated guess. Right now, I'd say I'm just throwing a dart out there, but around halfway, like week 8-ish. What do you think?
I think that's a really good line. What is the one thing that Russell Wilson has been able to do throughout his career? It's just play just okay enough to not like Russell Wilson isn't going to have the like Anthony Richardson or Sam Darnold-esque like meltdown game where they're like, fuck, like he'll be bad, but not catastrophically bad. Like he was fine at the end of the Denver thing. He was just fine enough in Pittsburgh. Like he's going to hang around. The chat saying it is tough getting used to getting back to 18 rounds. Definitely a bit of an adjustment here, going from the 20 and having the extra darts.
The one thing with the rookie fever late on some of these guys that maybe shouldn't be drafted at all, though, is it is going to make some bets fall that are like probably better than you're going to get in the 17th and 18th round in August.
Right. Like here's an example. And so we have 2 more picks. We have a 3, 5, 6, 2. We're done at quarterback. I mean, one that I was going to highlight, and I know he's not even the top of your ranks, but like Jalen Wright at 175 seems like a nice upside swing. Should we get our tight end first and then figure out what we want to do with that last pick?
Yeah, let's do that.
Gesicki, Jauan Johnson, Chig, Mason Taylor, Theo.
Let's just do I think let's just get the
stack.
And like, I think he'll probably be a bit lower owned than those other guys.
What do you think this team needs most positionally between 5 running backs and 6 wide receivers? A 7th wide receiver?
I think I'd probably go 7th wide receiver, not knowing the buys and everything, and taking 2 running backs early. I think so. I'd go a 7th wide receiver.
You want to do Slayton and just do the double stack?
I think Slayton because of the stack. I mean, I really wanted to get more of a rookie kind of dart throw.
I have no problem with it.
I think getting the backdoor double stack is probably the right move.
And also to put things in perspective here, and we can see the ETR rank next to the ADP. Eckler, who has yet to get drafted, who had an incredible draft in that they did not add anything, rank of 150, still undrafted at pick 208 right now.
Yeah, and that's one where we didn't need running back, but having more time to think it through, it might have been worth it just to purely take the value on Eckler there, and just the positions are what they are. Those are the decisions that are always tough late. Like the guy who doesn't necessarily fit, but is clearly a better value than the rest.
Yep. All right. Shout out. We earlier we had a string of YouTube members coming in to one up each other. We had a 24-month from Chipsy. We had a 31-month from No Bow Socks. We had a 40 months from FU Troll Me. We had Mathology with 42 months. And then we have Frankie come in over the top, say, welcome aboard, Leone. Going to be a good summer member for 50 months. That is over a college span, that a full college career that Frankie has been a YouTube member. So thank you, Frankie, for your college length support here. And yes, it is going to be a great summer. Let's quickly recap this team here. Leone, now that it is in the books, and I am so glad we got one rookie on here to get ahead of the allegations that are sure to come this summer.
Slightly ahead. That first draft, is always difficult. I felt like it started out a lot more smoothly than I expected, with the room not being so crazy wide receiver heavy and us getting in front of that. But then that stretch where we got sniped on all those quarterbacks, we had like 4 quarterbacks and needed one of them to come back, was a little bit tough, and sort of made us sacrifice some value in order to get that third quarterback in the correlation late. So the back half of the draft was a little bit rougher, but I like the setup to start for sure.
Yeah, I'll read off the full team and get kind of your final thoughts here. 3-5-7-3 build, Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, and don't forget Jaxson, the rookie, Dart. 5 running backs, Chase Brown, David Montgomery, Tajay Spears, Blake Corum, and Rachaad White. Did not think I would start my Best Ball Mania 6 day with 2 straight shares of Rachaad White, but that is where we are at. Brian Thomas, AJ Brown, Xavier Worthy, Jordan Addison, Stephon Diggs, Ayuk, and Slayton. Fun wide receiver room there at the very least. And then our 3 tight end build, David Njoku, Dalton Schultz for the stack, and Theo for the stack there as well. What do we think? 3-5-7-3 here off the rip.
I like it overall. I feel like, if this was like a slow draft or something, we maybe could have managed the third tight end, third quarterback situation a little bit better to get maybe a better second tight end. But we sort of really wanted the correlation there, so it was tricky. The pick, I'm curious what you would. I mean, it's hindsight because we were hoping those quarterbacks would come back and they didn't. But I'm like torn on like taking like Njoku and the Stroud stuff versus if we ended up with like Kincaid and a stacked quarterback.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of run bad that McCarthy went early. I mean, this drafter knew that he probably wasn't going to come all the way back around. So maybe that is a dynamic that you need to think through. Because you're going to have 2 sides of the board, right? You're going to have the Jefferson side and you're going to have like the Hawk Addison side competing for that. Maybe we should have been a little bit more aware of it. But yeah, I don't think there were any glaring kind of regrets there. I'm glad we took Brock Purdy when we did.
Yeah. Is that an unstacked Lawrence too? I mean, that's obviously going to happen, but unless he's got Travis Hunter in there.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Travis Hunter.
Oh, he does have Travis Hunter. Okay.
Yeah.
He was just covered up. Yeah.
Which I will say too, like you want to talk about getting some rookie CLV. And I had said this on Saturday, and I think like as much Travis Hunter you can get in the 5th round, do it, because he's going to be a 4th round pick for most of the summer.
That is one of the rookies that we have him 57th overall. Where'd he go in this
52.
draft? 52, but we're slightly anchored to ADP. So yeah, I think that's one of the better guys to grab now. His ADP trajectory, as you know, it's going to go opposite of a lot of these other guys.
Yes. In the other one too, like I do think like, so we see Jaden Higgins go at 98 here. I mean, Higgins should be going ahead of Igbuka, I think. I don't know if that's exactly how you guys have it in your rankings, but I think Higgins still is going to come up and Igbuka is going to come down. I can see what you guys.
Yeah, Igbuka definitely would bet on that ADP falling.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna bring. I like doing our baton handoffs here. I can bring Davis.
Oh man, Davis must hate our draft.
No, I draft old guys now. I'm taking I'm taking 8.7% of everyone. So when I don't win,
you're back.
at the end, I'll just be able to say, hey, man, I just read the manifesto. The data in the manifesto was wrong. It's just one slate, Michael. It's just one slate. So we're only about 8 slates in. So, dude, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
See, Davis, if anything, that could be your argument for continuing to do what you always do,
right?
Because it's just such a small sample size. It's like, oh, I just haven't hit the nuts yet. Let me keep cooking on my 7th slate.
Imagine if all that Mahomes exposure pays off this year, 5 rounds later.
They had the most boring draft ever. The Chiefs wait till day 3. They had a round 6 wide receiver, a round 7 running back. Neither of whom is going to be active in week 1. I don't think the Mahomes revenge tour is on. I don't think it's on the menu.
Where have you been seeing Brashard Smith go? Rusty says I need to get prepared for 12th round Brashard Smith.
I've got him ranked. I've got him in like the 210s, but he is not going to be active week 1 unless they just cut Kareem Hunt, which I don't know if they'll do.
DM me your do you have a CSV of your ranks when we draft? I'll get it pulled in.
Yes. Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
Leone, let the people know what you guys got cooking up. Obviously, the rankings are live. We just drafted off of them. You guys have the best ball sub rolling again. Let people know what they can get hooked up with over there.
Yeah, definitely check out the best ball sub over at Establish the Run. Best ball Mania rankings are live. We'll get rankings for other formats, in tonight or the next day, and those will be consistently updated throughout the offseason. We got a team of guys working on it. So we're, watching the ADP movements, watching all the news that could affect anything, and just constantly updating stuff all summer so that people have the most updated ranks possible.
Beautiful. Leone will be joining me every Monday here on Best Ball Breakfast. Nice start, Leone. Glad we could get one rookie there while selecting Rachaad White, the yin to the yang. We pulled it off, and appreciate you, and we'll see you next week, man.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Good luck, guys.
All right, peace. All right, let's see here, Davis. Is this have you snuck in a draft this morning? I doubt you did a BBM yet.
No BBMs. I've done 3 mini schnauzers and 2 puppies, though.
I know. Did you multi-table, or were those individual?
Yeah, 20-second multi-table. I went outside with my dog. Got some. The UV is 6 right now in the Great Midwestern United States. So I sat shirtless, eating my chicken breast, watching you and Kerrane drafting some mini schnauzers. Man, beautiful.
Dude, yeah, I'm excited for the underdog cardio club element. I went for a run this morning too. Obviously, no drafts were live yet, and sun and drafting outside is the best. Any other, like, before we hop into our first draft, any interesting takeaways from your 4 or 5 drafts?
I mean, I'm actually higher on some of the dusty olds than even Leone. Like in my stuff, I actually just checked my stuff versus Leone. I'm higher on Brian Robinson Jr. and DeAndre Swift than Michael Leone. I did not, and I think it's because they are doing a market baking. I did no market baking in my ranks because the ADP is useless. It's not today and tomorrow it'll be useless. So I think that is what is pulling it down. But I would actually say, we have some people who are in the camp of, dude, it's a great day to get RJ Harvey. Then you've got the people in the other camp, the no fun police, who were like, yeah, dude, so smart of you to log on and buy the Pico top on Alec Io Manor. But actually the reason to draft today, and you got at this with Kerrane, is to not catch the falling knife on Christian Kirk, to not catch the falling knife on whoever the guy is who's going in the 10th round now, who's going to be a 15th round pick a month from now. That is actually the cool combos you're going to be able to create this week, I think.
Yep. Definitely. And I mean, the rookie stuff is out of control. And I was shocked, man. Like when I was talking about DeAndre Swift before the contest dropped, I was getting a lot of pushback. Like, people do not like DeAndre Swift. Chase Brown's ADP hasn't budged. I took him in both first drafts. Like, these veteran values are going to be the way to play things today and tomorrow, because no one wants them. People want to draft Jalen Noel at, pick 110 as opposed to taking, DeAndre Swift or something.
Yeah, I have Chase Brown as a in the 20s. I don't even see the argument to keep him out of there. You guys, do we have the world's biggest like Taj Brooks contingent or something on Underdog Doc? I don't get it.
I don't either. Like the only thing I could assume was we had our piss boy room, so people were loading up on wide receivers and just passing him. But I don't know. It's confused me, and I guess we'll get another data point here, Davis, because 3 straight 111 drafts.
I think they might have hard coded you into pick 11. We might need Numi to check maybe you know what, someone mistyped influencer 101.
Oh,
they fat fingered it, and it's the 1.11
yes.
instead. So sad.
Johnny, thoughts on the market so far? I mean, the rookie, I mean, we kind of just hit on it. The rookie mania for like the second tier, like I haven't found like the Hunter, the Tet, like the Higgins prices to be absurd, but it's like the second tier guys when I was seeing like Io Minor and, you know, these guys who even the Igbuka stuff, like there's some wild rookie prices going on in the veteran winners, the Swifts, the Chase Browns. These guys are not moving up enough.
No, they're not. And I moved Brian Thomas Jr. down. I'm gonna guess he sticks here. I don't know, man. You trade like a truly generational non-quarterback price for Travis Hunter. I think that has to meaningfully alter Brian Thomas Jr.'s projection. Like, is a 30% target share season in the range for him now? I don't really know if it is for BTJ.
I've been with you. I was kind of the Brian Thomas Bear in the big board season saying like, I love him, but he's going to get some competition. And then he got about the biggest possible competition you could get in the best player in the draft. So again, we're picking nits at the top here, but I'm with you. I think he's more of an early second than like the 1.8 or whatever, where he was going. But yeah, I mean, he falls to us here. We're on the clock, so we got Jeanty falls to us as well.
I think it's Jeanty, and I mean, I moved BTJ down 2 spots, but definitely Jeanty. How piss boys are you expecting this room to be? I didn't check the username.
It looks pretty pissy, but I still think we take Jeanty here.
Yeah, Jeanty. The question would just be then, do you take McCaffrey? Do you take Bowers? Do you take BTJ? Do you take London? Yeah.
I feel like I love the Jeanty Bowers slap start.
See, I actually kind of don't love them together. Because realistically, how good can the Raiders offense be?
Well, here, let's talk it through after we make the pick. Who would you want to do here?
Let's do McCaffrey. Let's do McCaffrey because I think this will be Piss Boys room. Let's take London. Piss Boys.
That's
room,
what I was going to say. And we want to leave ourselves open to Chase Brown, who keeps falling.
So the thing about McCaffrey is that combination of players, let's call it 5 days from now, going to be pretty unique. But I mean, I've been saying this since January. But if McCaffrey shows up to camp, he's chilling, he's fine. Like, what is Christian McCaffrey's ADP on August 22nd if he has a 13-yard screen reception in a preseason game? Like, if he suits up for a preseason game, what is his ADP?
Yeah, I mean, we were saying like before. I mean, it's gonna be like 1.4, 1.5.
Yes, yeah. So I think it's a good spot to be taking him now. I don't love taking London there, but that is just you play the table, not your cards style selection, I think.
And it's going to be choose your own adventure. I think the ETR ranks had AJ Brown is who we took in this early one. You're going to see some London. You'll see Lad goes ahead of this. You'll see some people's flavor be Lad there. I think it's a pretty flat kind of round 2 wide receiver tier.
Lad over London feels a little fancy to me, B-Spurf. A little fancy. Not wrong, but a little fancy.
Today, like there's slap boy summer. Today's all about fancy boy day. Like it is.
People are going to try and prove they know who Phil Maffa is in the 18th round today. Like the amount of zeros that are going to be picked in round 17 here is going to be really, really high.
There's zeros with incredible style points though. I did literally see who was who's the guy with the hyphenate running back, Jackie McCorkey or whatever?
Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Commanders.
I saw him get drafted. I mean, people are flexing
I have him ranked. I think I have him in the 230s. That is, I mean, that is me being a little bit of a fancy boy, but you can squint and see it. Eckler is 31, just like is not able to go. Brian Robinson Jr. is not a passing down back. You can squint and see it. He was Mike Renner's running back 7.
There's
getting
a lot
drafted.
of squinting going on today. That's everybody's just. Can I?
It's squint boy. It's squint boy summer. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, no one wants it. No one wants to fucking click Rachaad White and Darius Slayton and Adam Thielen on BBM 6 opening day. It is just the worst feeling in the world. But somebody's got to do it around here.
I mean, Slayton, a pretty big draft winner. I think, like even like avoiding like Io Manor or whatever. I think is a pretty big win because he's just gonna be on the field.
Well, that's what I think ultimately surprised me from the draft is. There were more veteran winners than like rookie winners. Yeah. And I thought there were so many clean spots for the running backs and there were, but they either didn't draft a running back at all, or they didn't spend significant capital on it. The Cowboys, the Saints, it's just like all of these spots that were just begging to thrust a rookie running back into like round 6, round 7. And it was only the Broncos who really kind of obliged us on it.
The Cowboys, just excellent commitment to the bit, taking a scat back and then a 230-pound guy who I don't believe ran a 40 because he knew it wasn't going to be good. One of the only veteran running backs who got nuked from orbit is Jerome Ford. That's like one of the only guys who I literally moved down like 50 spots.
And he wasn't even that expensive to begin with.
No, he wasn't. I stream with Liam. So
Liam does love Jerome Ford.
Yeah, I just have to talk about Jerome Ford all the time.
We see Tet. This is the highest I've seen Tet go today at pick 30.
I moved DJ Moore down a lot. I have DJ Moore in like the mid 40s now.
Did you move Rome too?
I moved Rome down. Yeah. I mean, Burden could be, useless. He could be Jalen McMillan part 2, or he could like just totally cuck them.
Yep. Chase Brown does finally go before a 311, so we'll be not selecting him. Plenty of wide receivers available, both Chiefs guys. If you want to play the hits, Breece Hall, Marion Hampton, Evans, Adams. What do you want to do?
I think any of these guys are fine. Breece is, I think obviously the best pick. I think Worthy. Evans is tricky now. I think we take either Chiefs wide receiver or Breece. It's up to you.
I did Worthy last time with Leone. Let's do Rashee here.
Yeah.
And then just see what the room gives us here. I mean, people are still talking about like Breece Hall getting traded. Is that an angle you're playing?
No.
Or you just want to?
No. Why would Breece Hall get traded? Because
he did a fingers crossed emoji on draft night.
People do love some good NFL fan fiction. I think it's Breece or we double tap Chiefs wide receivers, or Adams if you want to draft another quarterback.
I mean, I'm not having Davis Mattek on the stream and not double tapping 2 Chiefs wide receivers at the 3-4 turn. I mean, come on.
I don't even really think this is that good. Like, this is not going to be a huge proportion of my teams, but you want to tuck in some of these. The issue is theoretically having these 2 guys should let you control the Mahomes dynamic, and you should be able to get him in round 9 or round 10. But it's like the opposite of the Burrow thing where you actually can backstack him. You can take Kelsey after him. So someone can just snap him off at pick 80 for no reason. Just to till you.
And I don't know, like maybe I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm more mature, but I don't know. I just don't get tilted in that spot where it's like, okay, I have Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy without Mahomes. Like, whatever. I'm still banking on the Chiefs being good. We'll figure out another stack. We'll fucking
Mahomes is probably the most replaceable score of those stacks. Like his max ceiling of 21.7 underdog points or whatever. Yeah, you don't need it.
And, Jeanty, as far as back stuff, like I think with how cheap Geno is, like I also don't mind the, you grab Jeanty. You want to throw in a little Jack Bash and Geno, little Raider stack?
I have Besh ranked way ahead of ADP. I think he might have been one of my. Harvey was probably my biggest raw number move from big board to Best Ball Mania, but Besh might have been close. I really didn't know if he was actually going to be a second round pick. I thought maybe that was a little bit of wish casting. Like we were, I think we were taking Io Manor.
Everyone thought Io Manor was going to go where Besh did.
Yeah. So, and I mean, is there a more wide open depth chart in the NFL than the Raiders? Like, no disrespect to Jakobi Meyers, but we have these are the guys who could keep him off the field. Michael Mayer, who they tried to trade, Jakobi Meyers, Christian Wilkerson, Trey Tucker, and then a bunch of other NPCs. They took Dante Thornton in round 5 or whatever.
It's a weird situation that I agree with you. His path to getting on the field is pretty smooth, but then you have 3 guys in Jeanty, Bowers, and Myers who are just going to command so many targets and touches.
Is Jakobi Meyers a target hog, or is he just a guy who has been better than their other shit?
Myers has consistently earned targets.
How many targets do you think he got last year?
Targets, not catches. Yeah. I don't know. What did he get? Like 140? I'm not even good at like ballparking this.
129. 129.
Okay, I am good at ballparking.
on 635 team throws. So you know what? Let's just even grant him that. You've got 81 targets for Trey Tucker. The running backs combined for about a bazillion targets. 32 for Meyer, 27 for Javonte. Like they had 21 players with a target, which is just very, very funny. I think I'd be surprised if Besh is not on the field week 1, and I'd be surprised if he's less than a 15% target share guy.
Yeah, and I mean, really what you're banking on, it's just the entire offense cooking, like Geno cooking. But Jakobi Meyers is just, he's too good to go away.
He's not going to go away, no.
Yeah. And like there were stretches last year where like Myers and Bowers were alternating like the big games. So yeah, and Bowers is obviously like king target hog.
Right. Bowers is the limiting factor. You can only have one white guy on the team who's getting, 8.5 targets a game.
Rookie watch here. Travis Hunter goes to the TET drafter at 43 in the middle of the 4th round. Omar and Hampton went at pick 44. His ADP kind of mostly holding steady from where it was in the big board. Rome still going arguably too high here at pick 50. We started Jeanty, Drake London, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and picking here in a second. Breece Hall went a couple picks after us at 41. Looking like by your ranks, the running backs will be looking nice here. Olave, Metcalf also on the board.
Yeah, maybe I need to move Henderson down a smidge. I don't think I want to be this aggressive on him. Let's take Judkins here, actually.
Yeah, I think I've seen Henderson lower. I think you're going to be able to get him in that price. I guess Judkins. You want to grab Judkins here at pick 59?
Yeah, and I'm actually going to move Henderson down from 50, and I'm going to move him down to 62. That was I must have left a little baking in when I ported these over. Yeah, it's just a bit too high. It's just a bit too high.
Let's see here. Do you want to grab Olave or Jennings as a 4th wide receiver? No,
let's do Jennings. Let's do Jennings because we are going to be mega tilted stacking wise if Mahomes goes, and that gives us another quarterback to take there in that window.
Yep. So we had Jennings, our 4th wide receiver, Judkins, our second, still zeros at the onesies. And yes, Davis will be streaming right after this. The redirect is set up. If you guys want to just refresh your screen when this is over, what's your plan for streaming today, Davis?
I'll do shit. I was gonna say 2, but with the 20-second clock, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be ripping through these. I'm gonna have to pace myself, dude. It's gonna be May 17th, and I'm gonna be 50 BBMs in.
Well, I love it because like when I'm doing solo draft or cardio club or whatever, 20-second every time, doing shows or whatever,
30.
the 30 seconds talk through, like having that option is so nice.
Wow, I just learned a name. Trayshawn Holden will be the Cowboys wide receiver 2 by the end of the season. I got to be honest, man. It's a big day when I learn an NFL player who I didn't know.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff I laugh off now, and then there'll be like this steady drip of athletic reports, and next thing you know, he's our generation's Puka Nacua. So I'll try not to laugh.
Trayshawn Holden played 5 years of collegiate football, 1,700 receiving yards, maxed out his final season, 718 yards for Oregon. He outproduced Evan Stewart, who I'm probably going to like as a sleeper next year.
As I said, today is Fancy Boy Monday.
Fancy.
Here we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very Ryan Flournoy vibes from
you go.
From Trayshawn Holden. Isaiah Bond, still an undrafted free agent. No signing for Isaiah Bond.
All right, our final RJ Harvey Best Ball Breakfast data point. He goes at 69 here. I believe it was 57, 71, and 69 were the 3 spots today. Man, are you going to have where do you have RJ Harvey in your ranks?
I have RJ Harvey 60
71.
That's I probably need to get a smidgen more aggressive there actually.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I don't think that rank was bad, but you're going to end up with 0 of him if you don't move it up.
Yeah. All right. RJ Harvey from 7, because I ranked him behind Caleb Johnson, which is how I think it should be, but that is not going to do market dynamics. I'm going to move him to 62.
So look at this, folks. This is how you see how the sausage gets made in real time.
Yeah. You know, a sneaky loser. I already see people disagreeing about this. I saw someone say I'm going to have so much Olave. I think a sneaky loser is all New Orleans Saints because they just have no plan. Like Tyler Shuck is not a plan. I was willing to give them a chance for maybe they make a trade. Maybe this is a Kirk Cousins team. Maybe they like, honestly, I would have even like everyone hates Shadur right now, but if they would have taken Shadur, like traded back in for him or taken Dart or whatever, Tyler Shuck is not a plan. I don't think.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you want to talk about systemic risk for an offense imploding. The Saints could get real ugly there. And even like wanting to get excited about like Devin Neal, it's like, doesn't get the draft capital. The offense is going to suck. Yeah, it's not too exciting.
No, and I was like the biggest Devin Neal slappy, and I'm like, yeah, he's fine, I guess. But like, Kellen Moore's probably going to start him behind Kendre Miller to begin the year.
Probably.
So, yeah, you gotta. Now, granted, probably everyone on that team is going to get injured at some point. So,
yeah. All right. We are about to be on the clock here. I think B-Smurf is a rational actor who wouldn't take an unstacked Mahomes.
Yeah, we should
want to lock something up.
We should take Hawkinson first.
Yeah, I like that. Set up another out. Pretty nice price there. Get our first tight end. Works for me.
Yeah. I just, and we will take Mahomes next. I've seen a lot of anger about Giddens, and actually Giddens did end up being my most drafted running back of the whole thing. But if a guy isn't going to land in the nut spot, like if he wasn't going to land with the Steelers, or if he wasn't going to land with the Bears or something, don't you want him to go somewhere where he could just be an DJ Giddens can just be this year's Corum. He could just be, and that doesn't sound good to you at home. You're like, oh my God, this year's Corum. Corum is one of the worst picks on the board. Well, he was only one of the worst picks on the board because Kyron didn't turn his ankle. But if he had at some point, he would have been a huge smash. So if you have huge Giddens bags in the big board, your out is pretty clear.
And it's the exact same thing that we did it 2 years ago with Charbonnet, right? Where it's like he doesn't get a chance to, really flex what his role is. And so then everyone's like, okay, well, this handcuff doesn't work. It's like, well, no, it's just the guy in front of him didn't get hurt. We just experienced that with like Trey Benson and Corum, but it seems very clear, like if there's an injury, then those guys are going to be smashes. And if you can get the discount on that because people just haven't seen what their contingent value looks like, that's a good spot to buy. All right, Davis, we did get Mahomes there. So we lock up Chiefs double stack, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, just absolutely playing the hits here on Fancy Boy Monday.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not trying to make this a huge, I think Worthy and Rice are appropriately priced, but there's like no argument that Mahomes is well priced. Mahomes should be in a fair market where he was just quarterback A and his name was not Patrick Mahomes. He would be going where Jordan Love goes. Mahomes went from 20 fantasy points per game, highest he and Allen were in a tier of their own. Last 2 years, he's like 16.5 points per game with like many, like he had a couple like 8-9 pointers last year, just like useless games.
Yeah. I guess the question is like, is that going to be the reality for the rest of his career? Or could we see them get back to a higher pass rate, maybe not as slow, not as much running, etc.?
I mean, if you want to be a bull, which I don't want this to be the personality that I take on this year, but if you wanted to be a bull, you'd say they basically had the worst left side offensive line in the AFC last year, to the point that they had to kick their center out to left tackle, and they had to move their not that good left tackle to left guard just to even have a functional, like just to be able to like play games. So maybe that's fixed this year. I mean, they also, kind of uncovered in that they let their best offensive lineman go, famously, the most important, most impactful offseason move. Their best offensive lineman is now a Chicago Bear.
Yeah. Devin says everyone is complaining about the Cowboys not drafting a running back. If the Cowboys trade for Breece Hall, where does he go? He will be a first round pick if the Cowboys trade for Breece Hall.
No,
yes,
because he's not gonna leap McCaffrey.
I think he would, dude. I mean, people have been so frothy for the Cowboys to have a legit running back there.
I have Jaden Blue ranked in the 150s, I think.
Yeah. So I guess you're right. If anything can make Jaden Blue a 13th round pick, I guess maybe Breece Hall could be a first round pick. Hard for me. Yeah, and it's like it's a guy people have previously drafted as a first round profile, and the concern with Breece Hall was like, hey, now he's getting competition. The Jets keep drafting running backs. But if you then place that Breece Hall we know in a situation where the competition is not existent, because the Cowboys don't have – the Cowboys' best runner would be Braylon Allen. If they
Najee at 106. Someone doesn't believe.
Oh, no. Are we gonna do Pacheco?
No, I think we nab – take your pick, a wide receiver here. You can even sort by ADP, right?
You want to do Cup? Cup is by ADP and your rank.
Such a bad pick, though,
dude.
I mean,
dude, give it an ooh, Cooper Cup at 107.
Ooh. And this gives us we could do a fun thing where we took Milroe as our second quarterback and just said this is the Mahomes revenge tour team.
Yes. What about what if we did Jordan Mason as part of the Hawkins?
I was going to say Pacheco or Mason. We get the teammate correlation either way.
Let's do Mason. He still speaks to me more than Pacheco.
The reason why everyone dislikes Pacheco at this price is because they watched him play last year. And
we watched Kareem Hunt play over him as well.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and it's like you're trying to solve the riddle right now of when the pads get on, is he going to be better? Is it going to be because he had the same surgery that Mark Andrews and Tony Pollard had, and he returned immediately, right? He returned in 3 months, which would still, by the way, this would still put him in the window of when Pollard was bad. So,
yeah. All right, let me hook up GG here. Can you read the team just joined. Yes, we have a 1-3-5-1 build. We are playing the hits with Davis Mattek. We have a Patrick Mahomes double stack to Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, but Davis wants to let you know it isn't the hits. He's a new man this year, and I forced him into doing a Chiefs double stack. We have Ashton Jeanty, Quinshon Judkins, and Jordan Mason, fun running back room. Our other wide receivers along with the Chiefs are Drake London, Jauan, Jennings, and a dusty but value add in Cooper Kupp and TJ Hawkinson at tight end. So, I mean, positionally, we're in good shape here.
Yeah. You really do, Hayden's rule that you want to have 4 wide receivers by round 7, that is just good rules in general. It seems kind of extra important at this stage because the 8th, 9th, and 10th round only have falling knives. Look at all the wide receivers who went. I guess Higgins got pulled up. Every other wide receiver there is a falling knife.
Yeah. McMillan's going to go way later than this later. Kirk's going to go way later than this. This is the highest I've seen Trey Harris go. He pops up to 101.
Bad.
This is actually the first time I've seen Igbuka slide to the triple digits. He had been going like alongside Golden and Burden in my first couple drafts.
I think the Harris stuff is too frothy, and I have Igbuka ranked after that too.
Yeah, I think it is as well. All right, let's get we got a macro question from Scott here. He wants our opinions on the top 3 to 5 game theory stances, lineup construction, week 17 projection, eggs, ball knowing. It's kind of like the ETR pyramid. What's the most important thing? I assume he's kind of saying edges. Like, what do you think are the biggest edges? But what are your biggest angles that you like to play in drafts?
I mean, I think your edge is just going to be teams that correlate with each other when you get to week 17. If you want that to be game stat correlation, sure, but I think it is just as simple as double stacks, really, or include the running back in there, whatever. But like, I don't know. You just have no control over what happens in week 15 and week 16. Like, I think, funnily enough, I think the lesson that people should learn from last year is that Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Alvin Kamara did not matter, despite having the regular seasons they had. Like, Barkley not being overrepresented in the finals should be a big lesson for people. And I feel like it will not be. That it will in no way, shape, or form is that going to be the lesson that people are going to take from it. But that, I think, should be the lesson.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think if I know you said ask for a couple, but if I had to say the number one for me, the one I've been thinking about a lot lately is be willing to draft the best version of a lot of different structures. And part 2 of this would be don't draft the same team or the same version of the team all summer. Like, be comfortable. Like, I know Davis and I didn't do it, but like, say this wasn't a piss boy room and we did Jeanty, CMC, and say Chase Brown fell. Like, be comfortable ripping that hyper fragile build and build the best version of that. It's the funnest to draft 0 RB teams, whatever your anchors, but like, be comfortable drafting the best version of different structures. And I think that will really increase the value of your portfolio.
Yep. Yeah. That is probably going to be like the number one thing that I try and do this year is just draft more different textures of teams.
We're all learning around here. We all get better year after
doing
year.
The BRs actually has really helped with just being like, you know what? We should take Javonte here.
Do Javonte pull? Get our fourth.
I mean, I just don't see much of an argument because we're not missing a quarterback, right?
Penix. If we want to get the
London you know what?
stack.
Yes, Penix is more important. That way we don't have to draft Sam Darnold.
Okay.
Or Milroe.
Yeah, because Mahomes Penix is a good one too. Do you want to grab Javonte here though as our 4th running back?
I do. The chat hates it. I mean, let me tell you, dude. Javonte Williams this year is the same kind of dust ball that, like, I don't know. Think of him like Zach Moss or Devin Singletary or I don't know, like the Charmeleon of Alvin Kamara's, right?
Yeah. I'm ignoring the Pokemon reference. You can tune into Davis's stream later to hear him compare every player to a Pokemon character. I don't know.
I mean, shit. I don't know. Maybe it is Miles Sanders, but I don't think so. I think
Javonte is going to get first crack for sure.
He's not going to be very good. He's going to be pretty bad. He's going to average 3.9 yards per carry. He's going to have a 44% success rate. But
Dude, what you're really asking, this is like the exact same price. You're basically saying, can Javonte do what Rico did last year? That's what you're asking.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, for as bad as you think Javonte Williams is, Rico Dowd, the guy who outrushed Rico Dowdle his final year at South Carolina, is a regional sales manager for Coca-Cola. Never played in the NFL. That guy outrushed Rico Dowdle their final year at South Carolina. Running back production is basically random. Outside of true outliers on either end, it's basically random and opportunity based.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, take for instance, Dylan Sampson, right? Getting absolutely buried right now. His ADP was 137. You have him 187. Like, not a good situation behind Judkins, behind Ford, yada, yada. If Dylan Sampson had been the guy the Broncos took, and let's even say they took him in the 3rd round and not the 2nd. Like
7th round pick, 8th round pick.
Exactly. It's just like, it's not even close how much the opportunity and the landing spot are going to dictate that. I did want to circle back to the daily thing you mentioned about lessons learned. And that was so huge for me too. Like, you realize, like, imagine going into a battle royale slate and it's like every first round, I'm just taking this one wide receiver and I'm never taking these running backs. Like, you would never draft 150 BR teams like that. Or saying like, I'm always going to grab the elite tight end in round 2 in every BR draft. Like, you would never do that. You would like look at your portfolio and be like, that's fucking crazy, man. But we default to that because of the time element, right? Because we're drafting all summer, it's spread out. It's like you forget what you've been drafting and you default to like what feels comfortable or what's fun.
Yep.
But if you hyper condense that, like, say if you were going to draft 150 best ball mania teams in the next, 2 days,
someone's going to, by the way,
they will.
Someone's going to. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's such a good lesson. And again, one of the huge values of playing the dailies is you start to, I don't know, internalize some of those concepts that are harder when
you
it's
just
spread out.
realize that is not the same game as your 12-team home league or the main event or whatever. You just realize that they're different games. By the way, Hollywood Brown is still on the board. Not saying we need to take him, but I thought he was a draft winner, and it appears the market disagrees with me. So I just moved him down. Again.
Well, I think the market is just, we have a rookie that I can swap there in Royals. Like, I'll just be done with Hollywood. I think it's the market's thought.
Yeah, they always, I mean, Rashee Rice didn't play full snaps till like week 9 or something, and he was actually good. So I'm a little surprised by the thirst for Royals.
We're already saying, again, just from my first couple of drafts, like, this is the cheapest I've seen Kyle Williams go, 144. He was going way earlier. This is the cheapest I think I've seen Jalen Noel go, 141. Besh at 139. So, like, even after just like the first 2 hours,
the first rush, the first, like you got to get in. Like, dude, if I don't get Jack Besh, I'm going to die. And now, like, okay, now we can just draft normal, right? Now we can just draft normal.
Oh my God. This comment makes me think of how long of a summer it's going to be.
Where's JMC?
8 more for a marathon. 3 more for a sprint.
Easy. I just said I moved Hollywood down. I moved Hollywood down. To correspond with the market.
He would at pick 149. There.
Dude, I mean,
we're gonna do it.
God forbid.
I had to get him off the screen.
No. Oh.
How am I already pissed about getting sniped on Kyle Pitts?
Wow, day 1.
Dude, do you want to do Jade Blue? You want to double tap the Cowboys backfield?
Yes, I do. Let's
do it.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah. It's a backfield where you can totally get away with it. I think.
At these costs, for sure. All right. We are only at 5 wide receivers. Do we want to take Thielen or Tillman with one of these next 2 picks?
Check the wide receivers, because I could be wrong about Thielen. There could be something I'm not seeing.
Not Keenan.
Not really.
Not Coker.
No.
It's probably Thielen or Palmer.
Check Mason Taylor. Take Mason Taylor at tight end.
I mean, he's gonna be available later. He hasn't been going, dude. We can take a wide receiver.
All right, let's
take a wide receiver.
Let's take Thielen then. Let's take Thielen.
Right. Look at this. All right. Yeah, we needed a wide receiver. Mason Taylor has been going much later though.
He went in the ones I did earlier. He got snapped off from me, but I was doing them right at right when it opened. But I had two Fields teams, and I didn't even get to. Well, Leone not ranking Mason Taylor is a really good bit. Mason Taylor should actually be a Leone player if you think about it. Like, no one else on the depth chart to take volume from him at all. What are we doing here, Michael?
Maybe
someone said
maybe the sushi crew has vetoed him over there. I'm telling you, this is the new reality. Chunk the Deuce says 2 shares of Thielen. I got 2 shares of Rashad White. Is this the theme of the summer, Davis? The cabal fights the slaps back. You know, is that what the I mean,
honestly, pretty responsible draft from us here. We take Cooper Kupp, we take Javonte Williams, we take Adam Thielen. You know, the Jets, by the way, had a nightmare draft.
Who?
It's kind of the Jets, kind of neither here nor there, but they had a brutal draft. They're running into the season with Josh Reynolds and Alan Lazard as starters.
Wow. Today I learned Josh Reynolds is on the Jets.
Yeah.
What a day. Okay. Before we fully slander ETR, apparently they have updated him in an updated one. So where do
they have him ranked? And is it before or after Jeremy Ruckert?
All right, I'll look. I'll go to the tight ends. I'm scrolling. Mason Taylor is sandwiched between Noah Gray and Theo Johnson.
Mason Taylor is going to score the 6 grossest touchdowns of all time. What can you do? There's nothing anyone can do about it. Mason Taylor at these prices is actually a vegetables pick. instead of being like, you know who's not a vegetables pick? Tyler Warren. Where's Warren? Is he gone in this?
He went 104 here.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that is
which is because in a couple of the drafts it was like Loveland was early hundreds and then Warren was like 120s or something, which is fine, like to get that flippening, but to be snapped off right after Loveland feels bad.
Yeah. I think when Mike Clay runs his first set of projections, I bet he has Mason Taylor for more points than Tyler Warren.
I don't know. Mike Clay's a notorious rookie hater with his.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I picked Mike Clay as the example. Yeah, someone did do a bit on us and took Mason Taylor at 165.
This is what happens. Yes, ADP chasing will be live tomorrow with Davis and the crew. Jay says that it's going to be risers, rookies, fallers, olds. Yes. But the real news is that there are equal amounts of veteran risers and veteran or rookie fallers. But those are the things people don't want to talk about.
Yes. Yeah. Well, because, I mean, some guys just got nuked from orbit. Like Isaiah Bond still had an ADP at the end of the big board.
Yes. All right, Davis, this is our build so far. We're at a 2-5-6-1. We're pretty good positionally.
We can save the final running back pick to do a bit. So we're good. We're good at quarterback. Mahomes, Penix. We only need 2 tight ends. And we can just take some wide receivers. Tolbert. I ranked Tolbert, I thought, pretty aggressively. I've been told there are other industry rankings that make mine look positively bearish. So maybe that is a signal to be in on him. I also ranked Ollie Gordon ahead of ADP. Sounds like I'm probably going to be alone on an island on that. But I think Corum and Wright are kind of both in the same spot where the team addressed the position like before the market thought they would. And Ollie Gordon is the way better fit next to Devin A-Chain. I think there's a reason they got a dude who weighed 230 pounds.
I don't mind the take. I definitely think I probably one that I want to wait on, like some news, like how things are shaken out for him, because you could see things going both ways for him. You could also just see him being completely buried.
Let's take Tolbert.
You want to take Tolbert over Braylon Allen?
It's fine either way. I thought we could do a bit in round 18.
Okay. All right, let's take total.
We don't
what
have
tight
to.
end-
We could take Braylon Allen. Tight end, where it's going to be thin. We're looking at like
You want to take Freiermuth?
I was going to say Gesicki is probably a good fit here,
Yeah.
right?
I think
Yeah.
I've taken yeah. Did I take Gesicki in all 3 teams? Might have. But yeah, I have no problem with Gesicki.
And I ranked.
Look at you with the Gunnar Helm over Terrence Ferguson. Rank Davis. That's classic Mattek right there.
I mean, 225, 227. What do you want me to do? Terrence Ferguson stinks, dude.
I know, but I'm telling you, no one's drafting Gunnar Helm, and I've already seen people drafting Terrence Ferguson.
I think you can pretty convincingly argue Gunnar Helm landed in a way better spot than Terrence Ferguson, despite the difference in draft capital.
I don't know if I mean, the Rams is a pretty good spot.
The Rams is a good spot, but he is best case. Like, let's say he beats Higbee out or whatever. So he's best case 3rd, right? The Titans.
The best case is the contingent upside. Like Higbee gets hurt, his value versus like Helms is like, maybe he gets on the field quicker, but it's like there's no like contingent upside for Helm. Like there's not a single domino that could make him.
You're right. If Van Jefferson gets injured, it's true. There's nothing. My base case is 1, it's going to be easier for Helm to get on the field than Ferguson, and 2, that role has the chance to be valuable without a domino getting knocked. If you want to say Ferguson has contingent value, sure, whatever.
Yeah. I can't believe Davis. We took, who are you? We took Jalen Tolbert over Jalen Royals. We took the wrong Jalen. What happened to us with Mahomes?
Jalen. I liked Jalen Royals better when his name was Justin Ross or Kadarius Toney or whoever. You know, Jalen Royals is such a dog to get on the field.
I mean, so was Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy for a long time there.
No, they were 2nd-round picks.
Xavier Worthy was a dog to stay in the field. Rashee Rice. It took a while. I mean, this is a team that slow plays the rookies regardless.
People are mad about Terrence Ferguson. He's fine. I ranked him. I ranked him 227. I ranked Helm 225. Believe it or not, the degree of confidence there, it's not 100%.
No,
my confidence interval at 225 and 227 is fairly low.
No, but this is the exact kind of thing that could get people riled up. The gall to put Gunnar Helm over. See, I think you saw that ankle photo of Gunnar Helm and it just emboldened your convictions. You said this.
I would love to live in an alternate timeline where that doesn't happen, just to see what his stuff would have been like, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I thought he was good.
Yeah. And imagine how good he would have been without, Isaiah Bond, stealing targets away from him there. All right, we have two more picks. We have a 2572 here. I think pretty much complete flexibility as far as
we could do whatever.
Go.
I think we do one more running back, and then I could do a 3rd tight end. I could do. Probably when you take Mahomes, you probably just have to say that he figures his shit out and he's the guy you needed. But I mean, 3 quarterbacks works too. What's Land Larison's ADP?
Did he even get signed?
Oh, you don't know, dude. What team do you think signed him?
The Raiders?
No, dude. And a white pass catching running back from the FCS.
The Eagles?
GreatFitPatriots.com.
Really? I missed that. Wow.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be like the layer you're gonna have. And he still never got back to you. He ghosted you.
I've not messaged him again. I'm sure he's got a lot going on right now. So I'm thinking I'll wait a couple weeks and send him another message.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You fly up to Boston. We'll have him come over to the house and we'll shoot a live in podcast or in studio show with Land Larison.
It'd be kind of sick.
Land Lyerson.
Land Lyerson. That's a good bit. All right. One of my take a look at the running back tab, because I think there are a lot of guys who are actually like okay picks right now, but your vegetables pick is Roschon, right?
Well, what about Mitchell on the KC team? I mean, you've been hyping up Eli Mitchell.
Low-key, one of the winners of the draft. If we think Pacheco's 6 screws in his leg, he got paid more money than Hunt. I think on this team, I think Mitchell makes sense.
On the Chiefs team, yeah, let's do it. And then probably a wide receiver, tight end.
Yeah,
Pat Bryant,
Felton, Turpin, the aforementioned Tyler Lockett. If we wanted to do a chaperone, what's our wide receiver room? Do we need a chaperone?
David, who is this guy that I keep seeing people draft? This is
Kyle
how much people hate DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, you guys should not be taking Manungai. You should be taking Roschon. Yeah, sure. We could take Pat Bryant.
I see. All right, Pat. Yeah.
We might need a chaperone more. I forget who our wide receivers are.
No, we don't need a chaperone. We got a bunch of chaperones. We got Cup, Thielen, and Jalen Tolbert. This team was built on the backs of chaperones.
Yeah. A weird thing, by the way, is that the Seahawks like clearly still feel the need at wide receiver, which I did not think they would. They drafted Horton and Ricky White, which like two guys.
Yeah.
Like Ricky White is probably has a good chance to make the team as a special teams guy. I thought that was pretty interesting because their wide receiver 3 is MVS. Their wide receiver 4 is Jake Bobo. So like there's like these guys are probably not BBM picks, but they're pretty interesting.
After reviewing a lot of draft boards today, a phrase constantly going through my head are, these are probably not BBM picks. And
these are probably not BBM picks.
Here we are. The theme of today is taking guys that probably shouldn't be drafted. All right. This team is in the books. And this was a 30-second draft that's still ripped by. So congrats.
Dude, the people are frothy today, Peter. I mean, there's never been a greater there. You don't have the people who just like entered some drafts just to like this was happening with the big board. People would just enter like 17 at a time and then just do not just auto draft off ADP. Like truly some of the most tilting stuff in my life.
Well, and it's like last year, I remember because I made the video on the Deposit Kingdom. I went through like the risers, fallers, and it was almost a little more fun because it was like guys that I thought were going to be slow, right? You know, like it talked about Jane Daniels, talk about Brock Bowers. And it's like the market wasn't like so frothy for them. It was like, yeah, we know they're going to inch up. This year, it's just like, just a massive, like just whiplash slam. Like I'm going to have no RJ Harvey until like a month from now when like his ADP like cools off a little bit. It's tough out here if you enjoy rookies.
Yeah. Although looks like my Dart ranking might be a smidgen aggressive if he went undrafted in this.
I mean, Leone and I took him as our QB3 there. I mean, of all these after round 15 quarterbacks, he's like the only one that's interesting.
I'd definitely rather take him than Shuck. I definitely want him over Daniel Jones. Just feel like Flacco will start week 1. Dart probably won't start week 1, but week 17, I think Dart is like way more likely.
I think of all of those kind of rookie QBs, he has the best chance to be starting. I mean, Leone handicapped it about like week 8. I asked him like that seems about right. You know, Russ will hold on for a little bit, but if you get Dart from week 9 on as a last round pick in 3 QB rooms, I think that's nice.
He runs a little bit too. People forget.
All right, let's recap this team here, and then we'll get you on your way to your stream. Are you ripping?
Yes, I need to remember to name my teams this year so that
I'm doing. Yeah,
find them.
I kept forgetting in the big board to do that, and I'm not going to make that mistake. All right, so we have a 2-6-8-2 build, the third Best Ball Mania draft here with Davis, Mahomes and Penix at quarterback, Jeanty, Judkins, Jordan Mason, Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue, Eli Mitchell at running back, 8 wide receivers, London, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Jauan, Jennings, Cooper Kupp, Adam Thielen, Jalen Tolbert, and Pat Bryant. Tight end, TJ Hawkinson and Mike Gesicki. I mean, other than the Kyle Pitts snipe, that just felt disgusting.
That was tilting.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this team?
I mean, the Jennings thing, I like go back and forth on. Like, is Jauan Jennings the Marquez Callaway pick where we like look back on it and he's wide receiver 4 and we like can't believe our collective hallucination got there? Or is it the exact opposite, and that if he was just San Francisco wide receiver 1, he'd actually be like a 3rd round pick based on how you should project the team? I don't know. I have like an existential crisis about him every time I take him.
I guess the difference, right, is like the machinery of the 49ers offense compared to like what we were buying into with that Saints offense with like the Callaway comp. Like, you always have that to fall back on. Like, even if this is a lofty price tag, like, you're probably still going to get like 10th round, 11th round production from him. Like, the floor is pretty good. And the contingent upside, like we've seen year after year, when Kittle misses, when CMC misses, etc., these guys step up and have big games. So I don't know, man. I'm a believer in the Jauan Jennings stuff. I liked what I saw last year. I don't really have a problem with this price.
It's a vegetables ass team, honestly. Just vegetables.
It really is.
Literally. Jeanty is no vegetables, and the Mahomes double, but like Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue actually is really strong together. I think, unless you're I don't know. Is there a trade they can make? Not really, I don't think.
Well, the guy who sent the super chat saying, well, if the Cowboys trade for Breece Hall, we know what he's what he's counting on here.
Nice.
All right, Steph, who is my official grader, throughout big board season, was grading my teams. They started out pretty atrocious, got some better grades down the stretch. Let's take a look, Davis, and give Steph a grade here on her team from the 101. I don't even know what it's like to have a 101.
Three quarterbacks with Burrow already hate it. Oh.
Wow, Steph. What does Sam Darnold do for this team?
What does Sam Darnold do for this team? Well, Jalen Warren, gotta say, you gotta give up the ghost, right? The legendary upside cabal. I mean, come on, guys. What do we do? What is the best case for Jalen Warren? Truly.
Do you think in like the leg up private chats, there's just like all caps message that says Jalen Warren sliding to pick 96 now?
What are we hoping for Jalen Warren? Truly,
I mean, you're basically just hoping that. Yeah, well, you're hoping that Caleb Johnson sucks. That's the first thing you're hoping for,
I guess. Yeah, I guess if Caleb Johnson sucks, it's a win.
Yeah. Let's see. But I think you're just hoping it's just like the same as last year. Is kind of what you're hoping for. I honestly don't know either.
Yeah.
What else on this team? Sorry, my monitor's tweaking out on me right now. But let me scroll down here.
Okay, I thought that was me. She took Miles Sanders to own us, which I just think I'm gonna give her an A+ for that. That's just very funny. To take Miles Sanders, and we took the 2 other guys. Kyle Williams, I like. Pickens, and I got Pickens like 10 spots after this. I guess this is the question you have to ask yourselves with the Chase Higgins thing. How many times in however many BBMs there are, 580,000 entries or whatever, how many times is Burrow going to make it to the 6-7 turn? And are you giving up too much? Like, should you just try and force that super team every time? And my answer is probably yeah. Yeah, I think you probably try and force it every time.
I think you're probably right, like holistic. Like if you're just trying to do max GTO, you try to push it. I will say in the lawlessness of these rooms, like normally it's like in the middle of the summer. I always remember being on the Swolecast one time and I had like Hill and Waddle and I got to like 40 picks past ADP. It's like, I think once things mellow out a little bit, that's when you can really start to push stuff. But yes, I agree getting the super team there. The Kyle Williams value compared to where I've seen him going in some of these drafts is
that's
nice.
Great.
Njoku, Ferguson, good prices here. Yeah, I guess it's just the Darnold there. I guess JSN, you're getting your stack, but probably
I'm a little worried about your running back stuff. I'm a little worried about getting weekly running back 2 production out of Jalen Warren, Cam Scatterbo, Devin Neal, Taj Brooks, and Miles Sanders.
Yes. All right, Neil, I'm an hour behind, but I need to know where Davis got that flannel mug.
I have no idea. My wife is in charge of the mug buying.
I thought this was going to be that like Neil had Flannelverse merch and sent you one, and he was trying to get you to plug his merch line there.
No. I just I grabbed the first one I saw this morning. She also took Pearsall to leverage our Jennings pick, so she was really on us.
That's true. Yeah, Steph, get your own ideas as opposed to just trying to spite our team with each one of your picks there. All right. Beautiful stuff, guys. Unfortunately, wasn't able to squeeze in the solo draft there at the top of the show, but most Mondays every Monday, I'll be drafting one solo at 10. Davis is going to be firing up a stream immediately after this one ends. Davis and I will also be back together tomorrow for the Swolecast. We will be back on Thursday for ship chasing. Davis will be back tomorrow before the Swolecast for ADP chasing. Geez, Davis, we are so intertwined.
Yeah, I'll probably stream tomorrow afternoon after the Swolecast too. I'll probably take a little break and then come back and stream some more. I don't know what I was thinking. I posted a video this morning on my channel, but it's already dead. Like the click-through rate is gonna be sent to 0. Just not realizing everyone was watching best ball streams. So go watch it, but there's no saving it.
What's the video?
It's the day 3 running backs. So just like the guys who won on day 3 who are actually going to be relevant. But the thumbnail's good, so maybe we'll save it.
There you go. Yeah, I assume lots of drafting in our future on shows like the Swolecast and Ship Chasing as well. But awesome first day. Appreciate everybody who showed out here to kick off Best Ball Summer. You can come hang out with us in the Deposit Kingdom if you'd like. Otherwise, we will see you around the webs. Enjoy Davis's stream and happy drafting, everyone. Peace.